Yes. So basically, from my channel, my name is Forrest, and I go by Forrest Gamer Redux on YouTube. I used to be an OG YouTuber years ago under the original Forrest name, but uh, times change, and I kind of got pretty drawn out of it. I guess making a lot of videos. You know how you get burnt out, and so I kind of broke off and decided to come back after some years. Um, but primarily I do game reviews, which I'm going to be starting back up again. And I also did a recent video on physical media this generation, which is a big topic. And of course, I also have done my gaming room tour video. So my ideal goals is JRPGs, visual novels. That's really what I focus on primarily.
Mm.
Um, so that's kind of where I want to go back to. Redux is a redo of my channel to reinvent the wheel of what I used to do, higher quality, and whatnot. So I'm hoping this time around it's going to be even better than it was before, and that's what I'm hoping to do going forward with my channel. So
Very cool, man.
Nice, man. You're doing live streaming on there as well? I caught a stream the other day.
yes, so I will be also live streaming hopefully once a week, doing some games, maybe talking about any newer pickup games if I do have any, some small news topics. That's something I'm trying to figure out how I'm gonna be able to gather the information as the week progresses because things change every day, even overnight. Something I'm not used to doing. Compiling it together for the week while also playing a game at the end. So I'm trying to work some things out that's new for me, but that'll be something I'm gonna be doing hopefully in the next week or two.
Nice, man. And you got a pretty awesome collection sitting behind you, man. Tell us about your video game collection.
Yes. So as you can see behind me, and there's games even over here that I can't show. It's in the corner as well as over there. But I started collecting 15 years ago with a whole lot of games. The first game I ever imported is what actually got me starting to collect. Was a PS3 game called August Generations of War. It was the very first game
Mm-hmm.
that I ever imported, and I still have it on my shelf in alphabetical order over there. It's like the second or third game in my PS3 collection.
I can
Ever
see
since then, I started to want to get into JRPG collecting, regional and worldwide. And over the years, I've obtained some pretty cool collector's editions. I have a Chinese version of Gran Turismo 6, for instance, that I absolutely love. But
Yeah.
aside from that, man, like I even have some games from Australia, like the collectors of Final Fantasy 13 that we never got. So my specialty is specifically JRPGs from different regions because I love storytelling, characters,
Mm-hmm.
battle systems like turn-based action, um, and I just love box sets. Like PS4 over here is my primary focus. Last generation, or since it's technically still going, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I'm such a huge fan of all things JRPGs, and I try to stay on top of them, but it's hard because there's just so many different, like limited run and like red art games. Like there's so many other companies that make games now than it used to be that it's really hard to keep up with everything. But I just love having anything variety type of games, visual novels especially. That's something I started getting more into because the very first one was Hakuoki Stories of Shinsengumi that I actually played. That it was a little boring, I'll admit, but it was different. But the one that I really liked was X Blaze Code Embryo on PS3. It's a
Yep.
fully animated visual novel from start to finish. The voice acting, the animation, the story is outstanding, and it's actually tied into the Blaz Blue games, believe it or not. So,
I thought they were
which
in
is
the same universe. They
incidentally,
got the same looking
yeah, which is
characters.
incidentally the reason I like Blaz Blue is because those are fully fledged visual novels and fighting games. So that's also what tied me into visual novels was because of the Blaz Blue series. So yeah, I've been doing this for a long, long time. Um,
That's cool, man.
yeah,
Yeah, I have a couple visual novels, and I know a little bit about the genre, but I know it goes deep, and I know that there are lots, especially if you're
absolutely.
going for
Yeah,
regional
it really
stuff.
does.
Japan gets like, God, I feel like they get like 5 or 10 of those a week. It's
I think the
so many.
switch is starting to come around, man. I think truly it's starting to get its
Mhm.
own weight in terms of um, visual novels being more. accepted in the United States,
Mhm.
because I know back on the PSP, that's where it started to get its footing.
Yeah, PSP and PS
Primarily,
Vita were crazy. They
yes,
had
especially the
tons.
Vita. Yeah,
Yeah.
especially the Vita. But I know,
PSP had lots in different regions, just not in the US as much, but they did get a ton of Japanese ones, I believe.
and I think what I'm going to show you later, you might like, because it ties into the visual novel as well with that PSP. That I think it's pretty cool. It's pretty rare PSP. So
So I know, I know a little bit. Like I know House of Fatana Morgana or whatever. That one's supposed to be one of the best ones. I've heard
yes,
Clannad is supposed to
yes,
be one of the best ones. I've been
it is
trying to get
considered one of the best.
Clannad.
Yeah,
I'm trying to get that on PS4. I've actually been meaning to pick that up. So I
which
do
one,
have a few.
Clannad?
Clannad, yeah. I
I
think I've
want to get
only
that
got
too,
a
but it's very expensive.
Japanese.
I
Yeah,
got
of
the
course.
PS3
Why do you think
version.
I don't have it yet, Forrest? Because if it wasn't, I would have it. If I say I'm planning on picking something up, just assume it was more expensive than I would have bought it immediately.
I kind of wish I should have got it when it was $49 back when it first came out, and I didn't.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It was already going for like 60, 70 when I
yeah.
even heard about it. So yeah, I have that one. I have some of the horror ones too. I have like NG and Death Mark and stuff like that, I believe, is a visual novel.
And I
What
gotta
other ones
say,
would you recommend?
I do love those plates up there. I need to get one for my PS5. I just never bought one.
Oh,
They're amazing out there.
Yeah, I always wanted to get one. I just never got around to it. Never got around to it.
So I'm missing just the Final Fantasy ones and the Spider-Man ones, but they're both being
The
scalped
one in
for.
Japan, man, I really want that one.
Yeah, what a pain in the freaking butt!
That's so
Like, why do
stupid.
they?
Square Enix,
Why?
man,
Why?
I don't
Why?
understand them. Really don't.
Well, so
Why?
there's some good news on that. In Australia, they just reprinted the Spider-Man one, so it's possible that that's
Mhm.
going to be happening in other regions too.
I've heard they're
Wait,
going
really?
to redo
Yeah.
the plates, and they're just waiting for like actual like release day for the consoles because they know that there would probably be a huge portion of people who cancel their console pre-orders if they could get the plates. So I personally ordered the entire console bundle because I couldn't get the plates, and I was like, I'm not missing out on this. I'm just not. Like, I'm getting these plates. I'm getting the controller. Like, I just had but if I could have just got the plates, I don't know. Maybe I would have canceled my pre-order. I mean, I don't need the second PS5, but I'll have to make do.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas I love one thing that you touched on, that you don't just collect North American games, you collect JRPGs from around the world, and I love that because
do.
especially with JRPGs, there's so many. Let's use Japan for example. There's so many Japanese JRPGs that are only in Japanese, but the community's that big that there's full fan translations out there that you can play along with the game. And I know you do a lot of this.
Yes, I absolutely do, man. PSP is actually the system I have one shelf side dedicated to just Japanese games only on that side over there. And I think I have like 60 PSP JRPGs that we never got. That's just all JRPGs. It's insanity. It's just pure insanity. Like I didn't even know what was that Xbox game we got? Magna Carta. I had no idea they got a PSP port. Now I own the PSP version of Magna Carta. Had no idea that even existed. That's pretty cool. So, yeah, man, I tell you, it's finding the translations to games to be able to play them is really the icing on the cake, because a lot of these games never got ported. But the heartfelt thanks to all those who take their dedication and time to do the translations.
Mm.
It's crazy, man. It's absolutely crazy.
Yeah, that's what Reggie's
Yeah.
been into that. You've seen those like custom consoles he's been showing off, the PS1 and PS2, the Tales ones he's been getting. Those are been modded and specifically so he can play like the burned games most of the games are unreleased JRPGs that never got released in the West that people did fan translations for, but they burned them and put them on the disc. So like,
yeah, my PS.
pretty awesome.
Dang it, I hate this camera.
There
There we go. I have a blue PS2 down there. It's a Japanese PS2. I bought it at a
That's
pawn
awesome.
shop. Apparently, somebody hard modded it because when I got it home, it had a weird screen, Matrix or something on it. Turns out, whoever modded it, it plays every region, burnt or non-burnt, and it works flawlessly. There's nothing wrong with it.
I love it.
So I can literally play any game on it. I even imported a PAL game called Evil Twin on PS2. That game is so good, man. It's really
That's
good.
awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've been thinking about doing something like that myself because there's quite a few imports I want. That's what happens when you get like close to like done collecting. You're like, well, I
Yeah.
kind of have everything I want in the
Yeah.
NTSC, except for a few really expensive things that, whatever, we'll get to those. But then I'm like, yeah, I could get a Japanese PS2.
As soon as you open that door,
I
of
know, it's why.
imports, the whole world's
Dude.
just like there's 10,000 new games that you can buy that you don't.
It
have
really put
available.
me in a very tough spot because I started realizing how many games there were that just
Mm.
expanded my library. I was like, you know what? I can't do it as much as I want to.
Mm.
I can't. I don't have the space is the reason. Like, yeah, I have space, but even then, it's only so much space a person has before it's like I can't do it no more. So I have to
Especially if
keep.
you're collecting collector's editions and big box stuff, because like that shelf that you've got over your shoulder looks amazing, but you can only store so many pieces on it, and if you buy a new piece, does it an old piece get put at the back? Like, do you have to
Yeah,
hide things? And
my Bayonetta 3 box set is so long that it can't fit on that shelf, and that's one of the biggest problems is oddball box sets. That's why I like the ones that fit on the shelf that fits in with my alphabet. They're not too
yeah,
big. They're perfect size.
E2 size boxes are the best.
They are. Actually, I need to get the shelves you got, Figsy. That link you saw, I think you sent. I'm going to look investing into changing these out. It's going to throw off my displays. I'm going to have to rearrange that stuff, but I rather have larger shelves to display all of my game boxes together with my standard games. That's the ideal thing I want to do. But that display over here is going to stay. I do like having that by the window over there. So
That's very
I
nice.
use these are called the artist shelves. You can find them on eBay, Amazon. They fit 630 Blu-rays flush,
mhm.
or PS3 games, and they're great. They're completely adjustable. I use them for PS1 games, for example, and they look good. I use them for PS2 games. You can just move them all around. They're easy to set up, and then they don't take up much room, like at all. They are the same length as a game, so they take up like this much room from the wall, so it makes your
Yeah.
room feel so much bigger. And I can fit 5,000 video games in this room, so you don't need more than that, right?
Yeah.
No, I'm just kidding. That's fine. So I completely agree with you, and I wish I'd gotten like shelves that weren't so deep. But if you see, that's what I just display more crap in front of my games. So that was what I did. I'm like, well, I have lots of other stuff I need somewhere to put, so just put it in front. I could double up on games though. I've seen people do that too, but
I'm not a fan of it. I hate doubling up because you're
Yeah.
hiding the games at the back. It's just like, why would
That's
I pick
already-
these ones over those ones? It's like
this
picking
is already a
Mhm.
pain in the ass when I want to get a game. So there.
We had a question from AJ for you, Forrest. He was asking, Code Embryo is so underrated. Have you played the second game, Lost Memories?
So I have. Lost Memories is a partial retelling of Code Embryo through the eyes of two characters that can travel and kind of mess with time. My issue with that game is unlike the unlike Code Embryo, it's not as good as I'm sorry, unlike the one you're discussing, Code Embryo, I felt like was a better game. It's not a horrible game, but I didn't like the story as much because it's all over the place. There's a purpose to it. Why it's going into the past through the telling of the first game. There's a reason for it, but to get to that point, you're re-looking through things that you've already experienced. So, like for me, I've already played Code Embryo. I kind of think that if you haven't played Code Embryo, you will like that game better because it's Lost Memories. I think it's probably best to play Lost Memories first because you're going to be. And that's kind of weird to say that, just
That's
because
interesting because it's a sequel.
yeah, it's experience. So for me, it's kind of boring. I'm like, okay, I've done this already, and you go into these other sections of the game you've already seen. You're messing with the interactions and changing the outcome towards the end of the game, So if I could get past the beginning part of it and get to the actual part where it's new, I'm okay with the game. But other than that, it's like because I played half of it, that's my problem with it. It's not a bad game. Understand that if you played the first game, it will kind of make you a little bored of it just because you experienced part of the story.
That makes sense. I was. This is a little bit off topic, but I was looking at the wider production reports the other day, and in particular the Code Embryo games, just because I have them sealed. And there's actually no copies on wider sealed at all, which is quite interesting. So
Yeah, I don't know if they made a lot of the copies of those games. I bought them when it came out. They didn't sell quite as well. I think because visual novels were more new at that time. But as time went on and more people got into the genre, I've seen less and less. Now I don't see them at all anymore. So I kind of think that's probably going to not an expensive game, but one that's more sought after for visual novel enthusiasts because it's. I always recommend for someone who's new to visual novels, X Blaze Code Embryo is the best way to start. It's the easiest story to follow. The animations it has you have something to look at visually. And the voice acting and I think the writing's quite good. So I actually really enjoyed that game. It's probably one of my top 5 visual novels.
I really agree with you on the collectability side of it. I'm not a visual novel person, so for me, when I was going for a full set and needed those two games, they weren't top of my list to buy. And I got Code Embryo. I paid up for it, but Lost Memories was one of the last North American games I got, and I had to
Yes,
really
it was.
pay top dollar for it.
Yeah,
And I bought a brand new copy because there was no used copies out there. The only copies were the new copies that were retail, and it was like $60 US.
I
And
think
that
because it was the last game, it didn't get printed as much. It's not common. Matter of fact, I bought mine at GameStop when they opened the game. They gutted the game. It wasn't even sealed when I got it because I couldn't find it new anywhere. So
Yep.
it's not easy. I think I want to say it was $40 when it came out, but secondhand, I think it went for 50 or 60. It's kind of hovered around that price, maybe a little less, but I would say it's worth having, but it's not on my top 10 to play. It's really not on my top 20. It's just only play it if you never played the original. That's what I recommend.
So, what would you say if I was going to collect visual novels on PS4? What would the top 5 recommend? What would you pick up?
So I recommend Danganronpa. If you can get the Danganronpa collection, I'd probably get it for
The
the Switch.
trilogy?
Yes.
Okay.
Get the trilogy collection or get the Switch one that has um, the
It's like
expanded content. That'd be the way to go. But if we're just sticking on PS4, get the
Mhm.
Danganronpa trilogy. The second one I recommend is the Code Realize trilogy. Code Realize is considered on the Otome fans to be the best writing for a love story, for dark tone, and for character variety. I do recommend that. As a second, um,
Is that like
I-
you said it's a trilogy? That's 3 games on one disc, or is it 3 different games?
yeah, it's let's see, Code Realize, Future Blessings, Code Realize, Wintertide Miracles, and there's the original Code Realize. Switch does have them. The problem that I have with Switch is it's a little bit difficult to kind of ascertain how I feel. Is that when you've gone and collected a lot of visual novels on Vita and on PS4, when it comes to Switch, um, I have to debate if I want to get the box sets for the Switch and not ever open them because I already have them and they're going to look better on the PS4 anyway. Um, like Amnesia came out only in Japan and we never got it here in the West.
Mhm.
We did get the Switch version of Amnesia, both the later X Crowd and the original Amnesia,
Mhm.
which up until that point they were kind of considered weak visual novels at best, and I was concerned we were never going to get them. But I was always intrigued by them because of the fact that you're a character, as the name of the game shows, is amnesia. You're an amnesia character who has to figure out why you don't remember anything, and the people around you. Who do you trust? Who is just trying to use you? And it's an
Mhm.
interesting story. Um,
It's like
but when it,
Memento. You ever see that movie?
yeah, hmm
You know
but
what I'm talking about?
but getting back to what you were saying about PS4,
Mm.
um, I would say zero time dilemma is another good one. I believe those around the 3DS. I don't remember the names. Nine doors, nine something.
Yeah,
There
and
was
then
there.
Psychopaths or something like that, I
Yes,
think.
Psychopath's Mandatory Happiness is another one that's good.
Yeah.
Um, Chaos Child, Chaos Head is the collection that's good, and Steins Gate. And if you can, and I
Mhm.
don't have the game on my table right here, but I do have it on PS4. The Phoenix Wright collection is in
Yeah, I've
English,
been meaning to pick
Yeah, I've seen
those.
that one.
so I do recommend that. If you don't
Did
want
that
to
get a
go
Western
too much.
release? Or
Yes, it got
was
a
that for
digital only
Asia?
Western release.
It's got
But
an
it does.
English version though. There's a Chinese English version of it. I'm
Yeah,
pretty sure.
yeah, okay. There's an Asian release. I know
I'm
that.
going to get up for a sec. I didn't want to do that, but I'm going to show
Mhm.
you this because I want you to see it.
That's all good, man.
Give me 1 second. Yeah.
So good. But yeah, I've been eyeballing that trilogy for a while. Those look super fun.
So if you can get your hands on this,
Yeah, that's
this is the
definitely.
full English version.
Yeah, yeah, those are dope.
Yeah. I love this, man. Absolutely. So
Yeah, I
you can
wish we
get your
could get
hands
like
on that.
a. I know they're not the same or whatever, but I wish we could get like a professional Layton compilation too. That'd be really
There's
cool
a
too.
rumor going around that they are making one English for PS4 also in Asian
Ah,
markets. So
that'd be
keep an eye out
nice.
on that. Yeah.
Yeah, well, as somebody who's dabbled in 3DS collecting, I really hope they release those again on PS4 cheaper.
Yeah, I think
Well,
because
they're
I
getting
think
pretty
because there was
expensive
such
for
a
the 3DS.
demand for this and it did extremely well.
Hmm.
I'm gonna keep it. I'm gonna be honest. This version of the English print is extremely rare, from what my understanding. They didn't make a lot of these. I think they had one print of the English cover. You only can find the Chinese or Japanese cover. The English cover was printed once. I
Yeah, I
got
usually see
extremely lucky
the
to get
Japanese
this.
cover. Yeah,
So,
that is very
um,
cool.
mhm.
We had another question from AJ. AJ was asking, are there any fan translated PS3 JRPGs? I know that I played Tales of Vesperia, the Japanese version, back in the day, and there was a fan translation to be able to play it, but it has since been re-released on PS4 around the world, so I guess that's a little bit obsolete.
So as far as fan translated JRPGs for PS3, this is actually a good question. And to be quite honest, there may be a few that I'm not aware of. I know though from a Western market standpoint, it wasn't a big audience for JRPGs because the PS3 was unfortunately not very. I don't consider PS3 my personal favorite system when it comes to JRPGs. It just was weak. I felt a lot of the JRPGs were not very good. It's probably my least when it comes to consoles and JRPGs. The PS3 is at the bottom, only because I never found so like towards the end of the PS3 generation, when the PS4 came out, Persona 5 got ported over to PS3. Tales of Hysteria is on PS3. Like when the game started getting good, they were being ported to PS4. It was like the tail end of the PS3 generation. So I don't know if there. I'm not really sure if there's a lot of visual novels translated JRPGs on PS3 to my knowledge, because a lot of the games weren't that great. Um, I don't think there was a big demand for translations. I could be wrong, but I don't recall reading anything about any translated games other than the one Fizzy talked about. But I don't recall any that to my knowledge.
Well, you're not wrong there. Like I can't think of many off the top of my head that haven't then been re-released on PS4. Like
Yeah, there's a bunch
the
of
later,
Trails games, but they're
yeah,
finally getting released now. So right.
the later releases for the PS3, Japan got so many later releases that came to PS4. Like Tales of Berseria got released in Japan for the PS3. I know there was a lot more games around that time. A lot of the later
Yeah,
earlier games,
the
for example.
there is a really rare version. I think you mentioned this in your video once before, Figsy, of Sword Art Online. I found the Asia English
Yeah,
one. That's extremely rare. And I don't know if it's because at the time it was one of the few good, decent anime based JRPGs that PS3 didn't have that was obtainable as English. So if you're talking about Asia English releases, that will be considered probably one of the best to get. It's not the best game per se, but it's unique in the fact that it was something obtainable that was not in the West. That I was actually happy to get because I love the cover of the PS3 version a lot. So
I would say it's rare, but it's not expensive because as soon as it got released on PS4, people just gave up on trying to buy this version that had English subtitles.
yeah,
And
and I guess
yeah,
because they didn't think it was going to ever come out here. That's probably one of the reasons or at least that's what I think anyway. At least that's the impression I get. So
I forgot about that one. There's actually a Korean English version as well with English subtitles, which is
yes.
actually even rarer than the Chinese one.
Oh, really?
Yeah, but less
Wow.
desired because the Korean version doesn't have English on the cover or the spine.
Mm. I actually have the Korean version of Ratchet and Clank, which is it's pretty weird.
Korean games are interesting. So I've tested this and it hasn't failed me yet. So I found if there's an English version of a game and there's a Korean version, as long as there's an English version that exists, the Korean version will play in English. So, for example, like all the rare Chinese English games, the Korean equivalent all play in English. Arkanaut's Holiday, Lost in the Rain, and you can go on. But yeah, it's a good test. I did it with Everybody's Golf 6. So like the Chinese version was like $150, and I found a Korean copy, and it said Korean only. So I bought it and it played in English.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah,
That's real cool.
took the stab. It had a full trophy support list, the same trophies as the Region 3 Chinese version. So that's quite interesting.
That's actually really cool. I did not know that. That's really cool. I like that.
If anyone
it's
wants to
always
prove my
something
theory
new.
wrong, I'd love to hear it, but I haven't heard anyone prove it wrong yet.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, dang. That's cool though. Man. There's just so many games, dude, that when I see people like Figsy and you guys on YouTube and on Twitter talking about games I've never seen before. Like I didn't know about Fatal 12 on the Switch until somebody mentioned it, and I was like, I gotta have that because it looks like a pretty cool visual novel. So I bought that not long ago. But yeah, man, it's a big challenge keeping up with every single JRPG and visual novel. It's almost impossible,
Well, if
especially
you're trying
nowadays.
to play all the JRPGs, forget it, man.
Yeah, that's not happening. I can tell you right now,
quite the
as much of a fan as I am of JRPGs, half of these games I have not been able to play.
You can't.
Just because I don't have you don't have so much time in your life to do so. So.
If I am going to play a JRPG, I like have to plan that, and I have to like be like, okay, let me finish off these other 6 games that I've been dicking around with. Clean all that up, and then I'm just gonna play a JRPG, and then I usually just play like crush it. So that's what I usually do. Like I think the last one I played was Tales of Arise, and like
I haven't finished Tales of Arise either.
I haven't started it yet, and it was Game of the Year in 2021.
Oh man, when I got my PS5,
it's a good game, but what I played, I do like it though.
Oh, I wanted to get some. I wanted eye candy, is what I said. I wanted some games that, like, I bought my PS5. I got my brand new TV. I wanted something that looked real pretty, so I got.
It is real pretty. That's for sure.
Hell yeah, and I loved it. I just blasted through that.
I'm just glad to see Bandai stepping up the quality of the Tales. It's been a little stagnant in progression. Zestiria was disappointing. Berseria I had not played, but I heard it was good, but it still had that last generation feel. And I wanted something new, so Arise definitely was the right direction.
Yeah, I enjoyed it. I feel like so far, I think the PS5 has a very nice JRPG representation so far. I think I might have as many PS5 JRPGs as I do on PS4. Now that's because I didn't collect heavily for those PS4, but yeah, I think it's crazy how many nice.
Yes, I would say having Tactics Ogre remaster on PS5 was a huge plus. That second, was it Star Ocean coming out? I cannot wait to get that. That's going to be amazing.
Yeah, the remake of Second Story. Yeah, it looks really good.
And that recently, Kimco has been stepping up to play a little bit. They've been really stepping up to play.
Crosshails looks freaking dope. That's
does.
Kimco, right? Yeah, that game looks really good. I'm actually going to pick that up.
Yeah. When we get to talking about some other games later, there's one I picked up from them on PS5 that I was really blown away by. That they released, Kimco released on PS5. And I think I was surprised because I always make jokes about Kimco releases. I always made fun of them. I thought they were just kind of weird games. They weren't
like kind of
They're mobile games to me. They're games that you buy on the phone for 99 cents when you're bored, and
How they get those games
We can
physically
make
released is
$40 out of these.
how they get those games physically released. I mean, every one of them is just mind-boggling to me. But it's like LJN of like modern gaming. That's what
When
it
he said Chemco, I had to think for a second. Is this the same Chemco that make the terrible games, or are we thinking? of
Yes,
another?
the same Kimco. They actually have one they recently released on PS5 that's actually good, like
Oh my God.
really good. And I was shocked. I was like, Kimco, you stepping it up,
Yeah.
buddy. I'm surprised. I am very surprised.
This game, Cross Tales, is basically Final Fantasy Tactics. So if you're into tactics,
And it's going to have a physical release, right? I think I saw.
I know it's got a Switch one. I don't know about PS,
I think
PS5 or
I
PS4. I
want to
definitely know
say.
it has a
Let me
Switch
double
release.
check. I'm pretty sure I saw
I'm gonna pick it up either way.
something on that. I'm
It's ringing all my bells. I'm sure I'll get it at some point. Joe, I found that interesting that your PS5 JRPG collection is almost as big as your PS4. For me,
Yeah, dude.
So I should say this first. I went for a full JRPG PS4 set a few years ago, so I haven't got one at the moment, but I was working towards one. So for me, the PS4 is like the JRPG king. I've got over 200 JRPGs on this system, and it's some of the best JRPGs of all time. Like they've gone back into the PS1 era and done the Final Fantasy games. I think every Final Fantasy game except 11 is on PS4. Is that right?
I believe so.
13 is too.
I believe
That's
so.
13.
Insane. And 16. But that is insane, It's such a good system. My favorite JRPG of all time is Dark Cloud. You can play it on PS4 with trophies. It's a better experience than the PS2 version. It's crazy to me how good this system is for JRPGs.
Yeah, it's got Persona 5, so that's all you really need, to be honest with you. No, it's got some amazing games, but I don't know. So for me, I do honestly try to make it a point to buy games that I plan on playing. So for me, JRPGs, like I said, are a commitment, and I do buy them and I do collect them, but I try to play them. So, and some of them are just immense. So I don't get too many of them. Let's put it that way. So I do have a nice little curated collection of one.
Yeah, I can see you have Trails of Cold Steel 2 from looks.
That's one.
No, the original. Yeah, the original.
Yep. So that's the US release. I still kept that sealed, and then I picked up a loose PAL copy just to play. So I have.
And then of course you can see mine on the top shelf sitting on the stand.
You got them both. You got them both. Yeah. I slept on it and it didn't get to. It was funny too because those things went out of control fast. How much they went up in price? They were like $50, $40 for so long, and then all of a sudden, bam! They were like $200. I was just like, damn, dude.
And I think they only released them in the United States. I think they only released them in the box.
We got different ones over in the Power region. But I got PS3 copies, so I'm content.
I have the PS3 box set that I got of Trails of Cold Steel. You put the second game in the box. I still have it. Yeah.
So we didn't get any standard Western release for the Trails 1 and 2. We didn't get just a regular standalone copy.
Not at all.
Only buy those.
The only you can get is the box.
Or PAL, you can. So what I do have the PAL standalone Trails 1 and 2, and then I have the Trails 1 sealed because I'm not opening it ever.
I have no idea why they did not do a standard for it. It makes no sense. They also did that with East South SATA here. You can only get that in the box.
Yep.
On PS4. Yeah,
I have that too. I love. So I see your Ease collector's edition over there too. I'm a huge fan. I'm so excited for the new one to come out, dude. Nordic or whatever. It looks so good.
Yeah, I need to finish East 9 and East 8. I kind of fell off a little bit because I'm trying to catch up on my Trails of Cold still. I'm actually on the third game right now because that game's are 110 hours each. So I'm like,
yeah, I know. There's a few of them now.
Because I got to get to Nayuta, whatever it was, the one that came out recently for PS5, and apparently it's part of that series. I'm like, so I got to catch up.
Coming up soon too.
300 hours to catch up, man. 300 freaking hours.
Dude, that's what I mean. If you're into JRPGs,
I'm already 220 hours into the story. Another 330 to go.
Oh my god. Crazy. It's like you could play 100 games and get like just as much enjoyment out of that. But I think that's so interesting about JRPGs is like I used to think, I got to play all these games, and I've got so many JRPGs that I've put 5 or 10 hours into, made a character, like started the first couple of missions or levels, made my little party, and then gone on to the next one, and then gone on to the next one, and gone on to the next one. And like you don't get to experience the full JRPG until you play the story, and
Until you play the story, yep.
yeah, and you get the emotions from the game, and you fight the bosses, and you get to see what the weapon progression's like, and the level progression, and what the collectabilities of the items like, what fishing's like in this game. You really got to play a game fully to experience a JRPG.
And I think that's what a lot of people don't understand if they never really got into the genre, is that they wouldn't know that part of JRPGs is character development, being invested in the world that these characters are in, emotions of characters, and the music that goes around to the writing. I mean, all it ties in together to give you. If you're not enjoying the combat and you're enjoying the story, you're at least getting something out of it. If you're not enjoying the story and the combat is like the best thing ever, like there's a 50-50. If you're getting something out of it, one overshadows the other, it's okay. But if both are horrible, then it's like it's not worth it. So
yeah, spot on there. There's plenty of JRPGs that I don't watch any of the story for. I don't care any part of the stories. And then there's other ones like Kingdom Hearts or I can't think of any off the top of my head because I'm more of a gameplay person. But there's other ones that I'll just be in it for the story, and it's the gameplay is the second part of it. Yeah. I do have a question for you guys. What's your favorite JRPG of all time? Mine's Dark Cloud.
I can go. I mean, for me, it's definitely Phantasy Star. I mean, if you consider that a JRPG, which I do, it's old, but that's JRPG. Yeah, dude. For me, definitely Phantasy Star will always be my favorite. I'm not saying it's the best, but it's definitely my favorite.
About yourself first?
This one.
Xenosaga
3, man, all day long. I used to be Final Fantasy 7, but when I played Xenosaga 3, man, that story was outstanding. I loved it. Loved every minute of it. It's my favorite.
First, can I say your shirt is absolutely amazing? Can you show that off for everyone?
Oh yeah, sure.
I honestly, it's funny that you mentioned that. I really do like Persona 5
my
and
Persona 4 shirts with the characters on.
Oh, that's so cool.
Yeah, dude, that looks amazing.
This is the original shirt they gave out. So how I got this shirt is an interesting story. So years ago, when I used to work at GameStop. So this is like whenever this game came out, was it 2008, 7? I don't remember the exact year, but my store manager went to a conference in Las Vegas, and Atlas and other companies were there. There's this big expo thing for GameStop. When it came back, this was a shirt. There's a black and yellow, and then there's a yellow and black shirt. My understanding is that the yellow and black shirt was only through that convention. You could only get this shirt from there. The black and yellow is common. This is the very uncommon version of that shirt. And I just so happened to have got it from him. He's like, I don't like JRPGs. You can have this shirt. And I was like, sure. That's how I got it.
Nobody likes Persona.
Yeah, he's like,
have this.
He was all about Halo and Call of Duty. And I'm like, you know what? Fine, I'll take it.
I love those
Whenever
people.
He went, I got any of the stuff
love
he didn't
those
care
people.
for.
They're like, who wants any of this loser JRPG shmups and horror games?
So this
yeah.
This shirt is probably the very rarest shirt of any Persona. Like, I mean, you don't see this very often. So I truly love this shirt a lot. And this is the second time I've worn it since I've had it.
Well, I feel honored that you're wearing it on the show. It's awesome, man.
Yeah.
So do you
It'll
have
probably be back in the closet for another 10 years before I wear it again. So
do you collect the series? Do you have like 1 and 2 on PS1? Do you have any of those games or?
I do. I don't have them in front of me, but I have Persona 1 on PSP, the box set. I have Persona 2 on PSP, the box set. I have
the limited editions you're talking about?
Yeah, the box sets for PSP. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Nice.
I also have Persona 3 FES unopened, still on PS2.
That's sweet.
I have. Wow, I wish I could show you. Okay, so you can't see it over. No, wait, you can see Persona 5 Royal over
Mhm.
there.
Yep, top
And
left.
over
That's it.
here, I have the original Persona 5 box set they made. Then there's a third one with the huge treasure chest. I want to get that one, but that'll be for another time. And then, of course, I have the regular Persona 5. It's a greatest hits. I get every variant of them. And
Okay.
the Persona
Quite a
5,
few of them.
what's the one? The Dynasty Warriors one, I got that one.
Strikers or whatever.
Yes, I have that
Yeah.
one. I have Persona 3 Portable on PSP also. With the pre-order of Junpei's hat. I do have the Junpei's hat pre-order that came with the game.
Nice.
I have the Persona 4 Dancing All Night box set for PS Vita.
Yeah, I got that. Oh, for the Vita. Okay.
Mhm.
Yeah, I have the PS4, PSVR.
Yeah,
The
yes.
Endless Night collection or whatever it is.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, I pretty much have the only ones I don't have is Persona 1 and 2 on PS1, and that's.
Mhm.
I mean, I found Persona 2. Was it Revelations Persona?
Mhm.
I
It's big
found
money.
I found 1 and 2 at a half price. No, not half price books. Movie
Mhm.
Trading Company. I found them like 3 months ago. They were immaculate, except the second game had the stupid little sticker that wherever it was before, they stuck the pre-owned sticker, little yellow sticker, on the manual, and I don't know why they did that. Other than that, the disc was perfect. It wasn't even resurfaced. It was perfect. It's just that they ruined the manual. I'm like,
Oh, you hate that, and you can't get like even if you get it off, it's gonna have the residue in the yellow.
and I was like, as much as I would want that because they wanted almost $300 for it, that sticker ruins it. I'm not paying $300 with the manual with that sticker on it. I mean, to me, and like, if I'm spending that kind of money, it needs to be as close to decent as
Yeah.
possible. So
No, I feel
You
yeah,
just buy another one on eBay without the sticker, you know.
yeah, but the game is too
No,
expensive, man. I don't know.
In the UK, there's actually a limited edition for Persona 4 Arena. I only just found out that this version existed.
I know no idea about that. I do have Persona 4 Arena with Teddy, the inflatable doll of Teddy. That's the only thing we got over here, but I had no idea about that. Yeah.
I'll send you a photo of it. It popped up on Facebook, and someone was in a PS3 group going, "Does anyone know about this?" He was trying to price it. I've never seen it before.
I've never seen it. I never knew that it existed either. No, I had no idea. Yeah.
Add it to the list. Yeah, no, I
That's
have
crazy.
I have Persona 2 and 3 on PSP. I'm missing just part 1. I lose sleep over it. I talk about it all the time. Probably you probably mentioned it probably 10 times in the podcast.
Persona 1, you know, it's funny. I saw Persona 1's box set. Wasn't recent.
I don't need the limited edition. I just need I want the game.
I actually, yeah, it was a limited. It was a limited
All I
edition.
need.
Believe it or not, it was at a store called Game Over Video Games, Arlington, Texas. Believe it or not, but they wanted exactly $99 for it. I think that's the cheapest I've seen it.
That's not bad, man. For the
Yeah.
collector's edition, that's
Yeah,
not
it was a
bad at
collector's.
all.
Yeah,
Yeah, I mean, I've seen people sell just the standard for $100, so I'd be happy with that. But I've been meaning to pick that up. So, but
Yeah, they're
I've
floating
given up
around.
on the PS1 ones. They're just way
for some
out.
reason, Persona 2 is more expensive. I don't know why. There used to be neck and neck equal price, but Persona 2 shot up in value. I have no idea why. Maybe because it's the second part of Persona 2 story. It could be the reason, but I'm not 100% sure.
Yeah, that was still
Correct me if I'm wrong here, but
pickups.
the Persona games on PS2 got reprints like 3 or 4 years ago in North America.
On
I'm
PS2?
sure of it.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
think
on
they
PS2.
did. They were cheap. I saw some. You could get cheap sealed copies.
I've seen Double Jump Video Games buying brand new copies and selling them.
Which games were there again? Which ones?
Persona 3 and 4 on PS2.
Yeah.
Oh, Persona 3 and 4. Yes, they did get reprints. The FES got reprint and Persona 4 got reprints. Yes, they're not expensive. You can get those pretty easy. Actually, I would probably advise getting Persona 4 with the soundtrack if you can, because they still bundle them with the soundtrack. So.
How's the goal?
Some questions about GameStop, man. How long did you work there, and have you got any horror stories from your experience working there?
Truth be told, man, I worked there for maybe, was it 2000? Let me think. 2006, late 2006 to 2008. Maybe probably January 2009. I might have been between the holiday and the January. It wasn't horror stories, believe it or not. It wasn't like, so The only thing I would say about GameStop, because it's probably one of the worst companies I ever worked for, to be truthfully honest. My issue with GameStop was the way they treated their employees, the way they micromanaged every transaction you did, the way they just watched us. Even when we were in a store, you would think they weren't watching you; they were watching you. It's just not a company that I recommend now, or even back then working for. Um, the only thing I enjoyed out of it was you get to check out games and play them for free. So you got to do that. Something that's cool. The
Mm.
discount was cool. But if you can get over if you can get over the other issues with it, just getting the discount and having the free stuff like this and the stuff behind me, that was probably the highlight. Like getting that Bloodborne display from a coworker that still worked there, and I got that Bloodborne display from them years after. Like this here, this layer
Oh,
box,
That's cool.
oh, I've never seen something like that before.
and yeah, like there's a dragon thing.
Oh,
And
that
it
is
cool. Has this PlayStation badge thing.
That's
Like
awesome.
this kind of stuff I love getting when I work there.
And that was
But-
a release title, 2007 release. So that's like one of the first
It's a
pieces
launch
of
title,
PS3.
right.
This box,
Yeah.
matter of fact, actually, you know what's funny? In here, if I remove this, this is before Blu-ray even came out. They would put this on DVD. That's just how old this is.
Oh, wow.
And check this out. There is this pamphlet in here that they gave you to explain the game because it was all new and no one understood the 6-axis thing.
Yeah, seriously.
Like
They're
it
trying to sell
explains
it.
all about the story of everything about the world, the press
Wow.
impressions, everything. This is
That's cool.
absolutely yeah.
It's almost
Not
like a
to
press
mention-
kit. It's not like a display piece because
It's
That's
a press.
so
It's a
cool,
press
man.
kit. This is rare. It's a press kit. And what's even cooler is this little letter in here that they send all the developers and stuff.
Hold on. I should make your big screen. Hold on. There we go.
So June 4th, 2007 is when this got sent out. And
Make
Yeah.
sure you ask every customer for their power-ups reward card. I gotcha. No, I'm just kidding.
It talks about the 6-axis controller. The media has shown high enthusiasm for Lair, claiming it as one of the most highly anticipated titles of 2007. Excellent specifications of the 6-axis wireless technology. Yeah, look
that
at
aged like fine wine. Not.
They claimed it was highly anticipated. That's all. It was
Truth
just
be
a claim.
told, though, truth be told about this, dude, I love this thing. Regardless of how
Yeah, that's
disappointing
cool,
Lair
dude.
turned out to be, this box set, man. This is a showpiece for me. I love having this in my collection. I
Hey,
never.
sometimes-
It's
not about the
particularly
game.
for that game because there's no limited special editions or anything for Lair. That's the only.
So I guess you could consider this like a rare thing for Lair, right? I mean, yeah. So for me, it's. And what's cool? So there's the back of it. I love the back of it.
It's beautiful.
Yeah,
Yeah, it is.
I've
very
had
cool.
this for a long.
Almost looks like a big box PC game, but it's a
Yeah.
PlayStation 3 thing. It's very
It's
cool.
the kind of stuff I have in my collection, man. That I think a lot of people will be like, "Oh my god, this is cool." Like I have the
So-
Ratchet and Clank All for One box over there too.
I feel like, I mean, I never worked at GameStop, but I do feel like it must have been nice to have access to A, promotional stuff like that, and B,
Yeah.
trade-ins. Like trade-ins
Those are-
too, getting first dibs on people trading stuff in. You
That's
know what
one-
I mean? That's
That's
nice
one of the
too,
reasons. The
man.
biggest regret was seeing that game.
I'd be
Ruler
broke
Rose on the
working
shelf.
there.
Ruler
I'd be
Rose
broke.
was on the shelf. I remember gutting that game when it came out. We got like 5 copies of it. I sat it on the shelf. We got the 5 soundtrack pre-orders for it. And it never sold. The game never sold. And it just sat there and it sat there and the game sat there. It sat there for a year and a half. And then one day, this guy comes walking in the store. I remember like it was yesterday. Hey, I see you got Ruler Rose. I was like, yeah, we have 5 copies of it. can I buy them? They're like $20 each. I said, sure. I mean, no one's bought them. You're the first person to ask for them. He bought all 5 of them. I'm like, that's weird. Okay. I had no idea back then the game was starting to go up in value. I didn't
What a
know.
legend.
I didn't keep up with this. But they were going to throw the soundtracks out. And my boss was like, man, who cares about crappy JRPGs, and these soundtracks? I'm going to throw these away. And I was like, no, I'll take them. I took them. I took 5 of them home with me. And now they're worth $500 each for the soundtrack.
Yeah,
So,
that's sick, man.
Yeah.
That's cool.
And I think one guy in Europe who follows me on Twitter, he really wanted one. So I just traded him. I said, you ain't got to pay me a dime for it. If you can give me the limited edition of Ratchet and Clank Cracking Time that came out only over there,
that's dope.
That's a good enough trade for me. So
that's what. I it's funny because people like, they're like, do you like that your collection's valuable? You have expensive stuff and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, not really, because I don't, anything valuable or cool that I want, I'm just happy to have. And anything that I would sell, I wouldn't sell. I would trade. I do what you do. I would so much rather trade.
Yeah.
Something
money
cool
to
and rare.
me, unless like in the case of, now, I told this to Figsy the other day, but I go ahead and spoil it, I guess. I did buy
it's cool, but I don't.
I
need
did
it, so.
buy a copy of the Pixar Remaster Collection on PS4, and I did happen to sell one that I had for over $500 because somebody really wanted it, and it's only because I tried to lowball the price offer to around 150, but the person wanted to pay me for what it was going for. I didn't want to sell it for that, but they refused to lowball me because they knew what it was worth, and I said, okay, if you want to go ahead and pay me that, and they did. They paid me $520 for it.
Which is probably one of the most expensive sold copies.
I've never sold anything that high before, ever. Right. And it's only because the person didn't want to lowball me. I wanted to give them to 150. I'm like, I'm not going to sit here and overcharge for a game that you may
you
actually
don't have another copy you want to lowball.
Yes.
I'll lowball the shit out of you if you have another copy.
I have
already tried,
I have another copy, but I'm keeping that one.
No, not your personal copy.
Oh, no. I only got 2. And that was only because I thought my friend might have wanted one. And he wasn't interested in it.
Yeah, no, I tried that weeks ago.
Yeah, I tried that 2 weeks ago. Don't worry. I'm like, you haven't got a third one, do you?
I mean, if I change my mind, Joe, you'll be the first one to.
No. I have it on the Switch, friend.
Oh, you do? Okay.
Yeah,
but no, I mean, I know somebody who wants the PS4 version is extremely rare. So if
I would love to have the PS4 version. I would seal it, maybe
I wouldn't sell it for if I ever sold it again, it wouldn't be for 500. No. My ideal price would be just right under over 100 because I think that's covering my. I want to try to break even to make a little on it. So maybe 120 or 130 if I sold it. But the guy refused to I told him I'll give you 150 for it if you want it. No, it's not worth. It's worth more than that. I'm like, I know that, but I don't care. But he apparently was really insisting. So I was like, sure, if you really want to pay that much for it, go for it. So
in a situation like that, Forrest, I prefer to trade rather than sell. Trade for a game.
Me too. But this guy didn't want. There was nothing that he wanted.
I get that.
So I was like, whatever. So
and Joe, you brought up a good point before, of when you're working at a game shop and you do get to buy those games. I worked at a pawn shop, as you guys know, and the best part of the job for me was I was the only collector there. So when the games came out, Figgy, here's all the games for the week. What do you want? What's going on the shelf? What's going on eBay? That was awesome for me. Every single week, new video games. I never bought more games in the time that I worked there. It was insane. Unfortunately, though, the downside is you spend more money. You buy everything because you can't help it, and it's not healthy, really. Spending $300-$400 a week at the place you work at is really not a healthy thing to be doing. So
yeah, it's really not. No,
it'd be great for your game collection, but I'm at the point now where I'm selling off these games because I got no interest in having every hockey game on PS3 and 4 and every Madden game, and there's so many crap games that I own that I'd much rather have a collection like Forrest where he can say, every single game in my collection has a meaning to me. I love it. I bought this here and it's got a story attached to it. And I hope in 12 months my collection will be like that too. You guys can see the holes in the PS3
Yeah,
wall.
I see that. Yeah.
That was probably all the hockey games. That was all the PES games. And I'm slowly going through, and this PS3 collection is getting slimmed down. I don't have a full PS3 set anymore. The first PS3 game I sold
Broke
was
the seal.
NHL 11, and I said to myself, "I got a full PS3 set minus NHL 11," and I'm really happy.
You got to work your way slowly up from like the I don't care about these at all to like I kind of care to like ooh I don't know, but it's going to take time to really know what you really want to keep because you got to have that sentimental value of how do I really feel about
You get a second thing too, and I just had this morning. Is I just sold a copy of PES 2013 for $60. And there's no way in any universe that's a $60 game. If I seen $60 on that game on the ground, I grab the $60 a million times out of a million. I'm like, why am I keeping this when that's worth so much? And it's
and it makes you really think. Somebody out there really wants that game because to them it has a sentimental value. Like there's a saying that I think we all can agree: it's only worth something if a person is willing to pay for it. Like that guy who really wanted that Final Fantasy, he didn't want to lowball me. To him, he really wanted to pay me what he felt was worth it for. It was somebody else to be like, I'm not paying you $500 for that. But
I'm not paying $500 for that. I really want it, but I'm not paying $500 for it. Full stop.
Same here. That's how I am too. Like all these big high dollar value items, like I want them, but I'm not paying these crazy retail prices. I'll trade for something else that I have that is worth that much that I didn't pay that much for. So like I have like my 88 Antarctica, like that's just waiting for somebody to trade for something. That's all I bought it for. That's what I have it for. I didn't pay hundreds for it, but I'm going to trade for something worth hundreds for it.
And
that's what it's worth.
I'm almost certain I got something in my collection behind me that's probably somebody really wants. That's probably rare. I have no idea because a lot of stuff I've had so long.
If it's Griffin Night, I'll kill you. I'm just kidding.
Sorry, Joe. Pick that one up, and I'm like, this one means too much to me. It goes
like my working designs games on PS1. I'm happy to have them.
So do you have a Lunar? Do you have Arc the Lad too, or?
Yeah, I have Lunar, Arc the Lad. I have Lunar 1, Arc the Lad, and Lunar 2 boxes over there.
Yeah, I passed up on. I have Lunar 1 and 2, but I'm so stupid. This guy had an Arc the Lad, and I passed on it because it was missing it comes with like little buttons with the characters on it or something, like these little, and it was like missing 2 of them. And I was like, I don't want it. It's not complete. Yeah. It was like $80 and I passed on it.
It's not bad though. Not bad at all.
This was a long time ago. But now I'm mad because I'm like, I would buy that all day, every day.
Thankfully, the ones I have, the stuff in them never been opened. They actually are still in the wrappers for everything.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, the games are open. So whoever had them really, really took care of them.
Hey guys, I think it's time that we play Figgy's quiz. What do you guys say?
Oh yeah, let's do it.
I'm nervous.
So as you guys know in chat, that the quiz isn't just about our guests. We have now involved the quiz with chat. So I'm going to give you guys a quick update on chat's score. So we've got Windy Corner TV, Jimmy J, Jason Trickster, Cyrus, and Banfi all on 1 point. And I can confirm the first person to get to 5 points from chat will win themselves a game shipped anywhere in the world. So you guys, to win, you have to be in chat. We need the correct title, full name. And today's chat question will be name this video game. So this isn't for us. We can't help. But this is just for chat. So chat, what is your game? Here's your clue. I'll leave it up for about 20 seconds and then we'll start the quiz. You guys can all help each other, but only one person gets the point. All right, we'll come back to this question. We've got nothing in chat at the moment, but we'll see if anyone can get that.
That one's hard, man. I'm not gonna lie,
I could not figure that one out either.
I got the first 4 pictures, but I have to stare at it for a while. That's clever though. And I don't know if anyone's gonna. You gotta be an old ass person to understand that first reference.
I was thinking. I kind of think where you were getting at, and I thought the same thing. But
I'm embarrassed that I knew what that was immediately. I'm like, God.
I think I know too, but I'm gonna wait until we see the answer at the end.
AJ says, "What was the question again?" I'll bring it up for AJ.
Okay. I just don't know the last two pictures, man.
So good. It is so good.
It is very good. Yeah, it is very good.
It's so good when you know the answer.
I just don't know the last
Okay,
two.
yeah, I'm trying to see those last two pictures. Yeah, I have no idea.
All right, we'll
Like-
leave it for a bit. We'll see if anyone in chat can guess it. But let's get into the quiz, guys. Forrest,
All right.
this is your first time on the show. Would you like to go first? Or would you like Joe to go first?
Sure, let's do it.
All right, Forrest is going to go first tonight, guys. So we've got 8 questions. Once again, big shout out to Pavel and Sylvan for doing all the questions for the quiz. So we've got some great questions tonight. I'm just going to pull up the question list and we'll get into it. All right, question number 1. Forrest, this one's for you. So the way the quiz is going to work, each question will be worth 1 point. Forrest, if you get the question wrong, the question will go over to Joe for the chance to steal. And if Joe, you get the question right, you'll be able to steal 1 point, and then vice versa. So question 1. What PS2's memory card save icon is this? Is it Devil May Cry, Metal Slug, Mega Man, or R-Type?
Devil May Cry.
That is Devil May Cry. Forrest takes the first point.
Very nice.
Joe, your first question.
All right.
What was Kirby's original name? Layla? Mimimi? Poo Poo? Or Poo Poo Poo?
What the?
Wait, what was that third one?
Poo Poo Poo?
Wow.
Oh man, dude. I'm gonna actually say it is po-po-po. Po-po-poo-poo-poo. So I'm going
And
with.
Joe would be right. The correct answer is Poo Poo Poo.
Nice. Nice. I knew it. I was thinking either that or me. Or the other 3 answers.
I just want to say that Turner's got the incorrect answer for the chat question as well. So no one's got the chat question right yet. It's still open to everyone. All right, moving on to round 3. Question 3. Forrest, this one's for you. Which 2 brothers went across the second dimension in a PS3 game?
Second dimension. Wow.
I'll repeat the question. Which 2 brothers went across the second dimension, or went across the 2D dimension in a PS3 game? Sorry, 2D, not second.
2D dimension. 2 brothers. It was a PS2 game?
PS3 game.
Free game. Dang, I don't honestly, dude, I don't know. I don't think I ever played a game that had 2 brothers that went into a 2D dimension.
As soon as you hear it, you're going to be like, oh.
Because if it was any PlayStation game, the only game that comes to mind to me was I can't remember the name of the game. It was a kid getting chased by shadows. Where he was trying to save his brother, and his dog named Whiskey went with him, and it went into like the side scroll 2D environment. But as far as like PS3 night, I honestly cannot think of it. Yeah, I'm at the pass.
Joe, you want to steal?
I'm gonna say asterisk and obelisk. I don't know.
So the correct answer, and I guess this is a little bit of a trick question, was Phineas and Ferb's Across the Second Dimension.
Oh my god, I would have never guessed that game, and I've seen.
And I guess it was a bit of a trick question there. But...
Yeah, I would have never thought of Phineas and Ferb. Yeah.
Question 4, Joe.
Hmm.
Which video game series is this slot machine from?
Let's get the lives. We got Killing Wire. I'm gonna say Hitman.
Joe comes in clutch. Correct answer is Hitman.
Wow.
Mm.
I really. I never played Hitman, but I would never thought something like that be in the game. That's pretty cool.
So for me, it was the Strangling Wire.
Mhm.
That's like that's a sneaky murdering weapon, and
I
just
can't think of
figured
any video games that's in but Hitman.
Yeah.
maybe Assassin's Creed, but they wouldn't have no freaking slot machines. I don't think so. Yeah.
All right, guys, we'll get a quick update at the end of round 2. Joe's got a lead of 2 points, and Forrest is right behind on 1 point. We're just going to quickly touch back on chat's question. So AJ answered Shadow of Destiny. Shadow of Destiny is incorrect. No one has got it right yet. Again, this is worth 1 point. First person in chat to 5 points will win themselves a video game shipped anywhere in the world. So there's something on the line here, guys. We'll come back to that one soon. All right, moving on to round 3. Forrest, this next question is for you. What company released the Suikoden game series?
That would be Konami, wouldn't it?
Correct answer is Konami. All right, moving on to question number 6. Joe, this one's for you, and I've got a video question for you. I'm going to show you a famous person, and you have to tell me who it is. It's an interview.
I will give you this. Okay. When the 4th game was released, my main contact at Activision asked.
That's Tony Hawk.
That's Tony Hawk. I'd be scared if you got that one wrong. But hey, there'd be people out
I think I
there.
didn't answer that question.
We've just got some more. Oh, okay. We've got a correct answer in chat. I am giving today's point to Lulu Girl with Dynasty Warriors Gundam Reborn. That is correct. Congratulations, Lulu Girl. You take this week's chat question.
Now, the Reborn I could not get.
I wouldn't have got that at all.
Warriors Gundam Reborn. So we had the Re from Resident Evil and then the Born at the end. That was tough. So well done, Lulu Girl. That was
or
good.
Born Supremacy or something like that. Is that what that game is? I thought it was like.
Oh, I see. You know what? Okay, the last picture I got the Born part from the picture, but the other ones I was like, I don't understand. I get it now. Okay.
Yeah, it's really good. Who did that? Who came up with that? Very good. Freaking Dynasty.
I wouldn't have known the Dynasty one.
No, that's the first part. I got the Dynasty
Honestly,
Warriors Gundam immediately.
I would never.
But I got it when I practiced. So
yeah,
and because I also know there's like there's so many Gundam games. I don't know how many Dynasty Warrior Gundam games there are, but there's so many Gundam games. So it's like a big blur in my head. Yeah, it's
Gundam versus Extreme versus.
Yeah, forget it. I'll never be able to guess the last part.
All right, we are at the end of round number 3, and the score is Joe out on front with 3 points, and Forrest right behind with 2 points. Let's move into the final round. Question number 7. So this is going to be like chat's question, but a little bit easier. Only a couple of photos. So Forrest, this one's for you. Name the video game by the pictures.
Wow. So we got an arrow going down. AR. So DOHA. The first picture is starting to throw me off, though. I'm trying to think.
It's making me hungry.
Looks
freaking delicious.
DOHA. And the first is ice cream, milkshake, chocolate milkshake, sprinkles.
Now you're making me hungry, man. Stop pointing out all the deliciousness.
Oh God.
You said 2 out of the 3 words of the title.
Hey, no hints.
You both get
no hints.
That.
I
Dang.
know the answer. No hints.
Ooh, whoa, Joe knows the answer. No pressure.
No, I'm dude. Like the milkshake is really getting me right now. Like, because I can't think of words that would spell the game that would represent milkshake. Let me think. So, down Hawaii shirt.
You're killing me.
Is it a fight? Is it a fighting game? Is it Dead or Alive Extreme?
Can't give away any hints. You've set the whole title though.
You pretty much used all the right words, just not quite right, man. You just gotta put it together.
That's the hard part.
Wait, I did.
No.
Not in a row.
Is it DOA Extreme?
It is not. I'm gonna hand this one over to Joe for it.
Yeah, I give up.
It's Shake Down Hawaii.
It
Oh,
was Shakedown Hawaii.
so I got it kind of close with Dio in Hawaii. Oh,
You were like milkshake,
down, Hawaiian
down, Hawaiian shirt. I'm like, ah.
I was in the same parts over there. Oh my god,
it. You got it, dude.
Damn.
Cat got it as well. So they're all freaking out.
Wow, that's
All right,
Hey.
final question, Joe. This one's for you. Name the game by the pictures.
That would be Horizon Zero Dawn.
Correct answer is Horizon 0 point.
Yeah, it's funny.
Dawn.
I even saw it in the picture myself. Wow.
And this week's winner with 5 points is Joe Brad. Congratulations, Joe.
Woo! Dude, I love the pictures.
Yeah, that's a fun game. That was really fun.
Thanks so much for playing for us, coming on and playing, and well done again, Joe.
Woo!
And Lulu Girl, congratulations to taking your first point. So,
That was
guys,
good.
if you want to be involved with the quiz in chat, you have to be on the live streams, and each stream will have the opportunity to earn 1 point. First to get 5 points will win themselves a game. So you got to be in it to win it. You guys had any recent pickups this week?
So I had only one. Well, it wasn't this week. I guess last week, but it's my most recent. So, recent would be the Resident Evil PS3 version for PS3, which contains the English cover. And on the inside of it, which is probably the coolest thing, is there is the disc of Biohazard, as you see there. And what's also cool about this version, which as you can see, is you notice it says Biohazard for the disc and the manual says Resident Evil. And now there's the Biohazard manual.
That's cool.
It also has DLC for the game.
That's cool.
It contains all the Wesker videos, the Wesker classifieds for the story of his scenario. And I guess I can show you a picture of the inside of it. It is in full color.
Is this the Asian English release or is this the
It's
Japanese
the
release?
Asia English release. Yep.
Yeah,
and
that's
on
the
the
good one.
inside of here has the Biohazard cover. So you can swap the cover out from the English to the Japanese.
That's awesome, dude.
Absolutely. I
Yeah,
saw
if
this
you are
in
looking to
books,
buy
and I had to get it. Absolutely.
The Japanese version plays in English as well. So if you don't want to spend the $200 to get the Chinese version, the Japanese version's completely the same.
That's what I did.
English.
Yeah,
I
I have
love
the
the fact of this cover. This is so freaking awesome.
yeah. So that's why
Really is.
that one's so desirable is the Resident Evil cover. Like,
How much is this one going for? Because I paid $20 for this.
Well,
So,
I've
yeah,
sold it for over $200 before. So that
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
You know what else? I don't know if I don't think it is English, but you can also get the two like light gun games in the Resident Evil Chronicle ones, Dark Chronicles or whatever they're called, and they work on the PS3 Move, and you don't really need English to play them. So if anybody does want a physical, you can pick them up. I would recommend it. You can get them on the Wii too if you want to play them on the Wii, but who wants to play them on the Wii? Get them on the PS3. Come on. Look, what podcast are we on here?
This is Arcrash Fantasia.
Yeah, there you go. I don't know. Sorry, didn't mean to trip. What else you got, man?
So that was the only game. That was the only pickup I got recently, like recently.
All right.
Because I mean, I've been really waiting for the releases to come out later. I do have a bunch of show and tell games here, but that's like my recent. So
are we doing regular just like show and tell?
So I'll show my recent one off as well. I don't buy many games these days, but I seen a message on Facebook from a guy looking for Painkiller on PS3, and I had a copy on eBay, so I messaged him, and he was a regular in the PS3 group. His name's Matt. Shout out to Matt if you watch him. And he said he wanted to buy it, but he was also willing to trade. And he had a game that I was after, and I thought, I don't buy many games these days. It was a big heavy hitter that I probably wouldn't purchase because it is just a little bit out of my price range, or more than I'd like to spend on a game. And anyway, that game is Manhunt 2.
Oh,
I'm pretty happy to have this one.
That is a good trade, man.
Yeah, so it's not just complete, it's also got the registration card as well, which I'm pretty happy to have because I've looked online and I couldn't actually find any copies that had the registration card. And there were sold copies in Australia for over $270. So yeah, I'm pretty happy to add this one to the collection. I've got Manhunt 1, and I eventually want to get every Rockstar game, so it's a heavy hitter that I'm pretty happy to knock off the list. What do you got for us this week, Joe?
So I don't have. I mean, all I have is my pickups. I don't have show and tell stuff too. So
that's all right. We'll make this one big segment. We'll just keep going around the circle again.
Okay. All right. So I did. It's only been like a few days. Sorry to always have something to show, but I have a few pickups that I got. So I picked Warhammer, Shooters, Blood, and Teeth.
That is cool.
I like the art style of that.
Yeah, it's like a cartoonish, not like cell shaded, but it's like got that like neo cartoonish look, I guess. But it's like a run and gun shooter. I'd say like a Contra inspired type game. It's just one of those ones I've been eyeballing for a while. And there was like a really good sale on I think it was Amazon. They like buy one get one free or something like that. I think I paid like $10 for this or something like that. So I love collecting for PS4 right now because there's just so many games that I've just been waiting for, and they're finally cheap, nice and cheap. Really good deals. Like I think right now, if anybody cares, like the Back for Blood Super Deluxe Edition that's usually like $90 is on sale for like $30 on Best Buy on clearance.
Yeah,
stuff like that. Those crazy editions, they're really cheap right now. So I also got this because I've been meaning to pick this up for a while.
I want to play that.
Ooh, I want to play that too.
Yeah, it looks dope. And when I feel like getting my ass kicked, I will put it in and get my ass kicked. These games, I'm not like the best Souls player or anything like that, or any of these types of games, but I'm stubborn, so I can play them because I will just keep playing them and trying over and over and over and over and over until I win. I don't care.
Did you play the Neo games, Joe?
I played a little of Neo 1, and again I got my ass kicked. I never finished it. So all those games, I get to a point where I start to lie to myself, and I'm like, I just need a break. I was going to play a shmup for a little while, and then it's 3 years later, and I'm like, maybe I'll get back to it. But, yeah, I don't know. I should replay those. I picked up, like, the combo they came out with on PS5. Neo 1 and Neo 2.
Beautiful collection. I was on Neo 1. I think I was the 86th person in the world to get the Platinum Trophy for that.
Nice.
Wow, you got the Platinum in it? For real?
Pre-ordered it and got the Platinum Trophy in like 9 days and 100 and something hours.
I don't know too many people who's even. Yeah, I don't know too many people who's platinum. But that collection is nice though. That's a nice collection on PS5 for that.
And it's good value too. Like those games aren't cheap, you know. It's
Mm-hmm.
probably cheaper to just get the collection than to buy them individually. Oh, Neo 1 is cheap because it got a greatest hits, but Neo 2 isn't.
You know, at one point you could get the Neo 2 box set at GameStop for like $9 new for like a year or two. Yeah, they was trying to give them away because no one was buying them. I actually bought one for like $9 new at
That's
GameStop
crazy.
during the holidays one year. Yeah.
Yeah, dude, that's like it's all about being patient. That's why I like physical collecting, man. Like
Yeah.
you can be savvy with it. Like that's what I'm not gonna like embrace the digital future because it's just gonna be all right. Everything's $60 or even more by the
That's
time
what people don't realize,
and
that
then
it's a gamble.
it'll be like Steam where you'll be like, oh, well, there's a summer sale. You can get some deals. You can, and then there's like a Christmas sale, or there'll be a few seasonal times where stuff's on sale. But other than that, that'll be it. It's just there's no fun in it anymore. Anyway, that's a different tangent. But I also, so this is funny. I got my Steam Deck. I've been emulating like everything, and like there's a few games that like weren't emulating that great, and this was one of them. Like the sound wasn't working, so I just got irritated and I bought it because I wanted to play it. So I picked up Afterburner Black
Ooh,
Falcon for
very
PSP.
nice.
Nice.
That's nothing fancy. PSP games are all cheap, which is why I love collecting for PSP because it's the only system where I'm like, oh god, I want this game. How much is it? Oh, cool! It's like only $10, $15, sweet. Like every other system. It's always the opposite. I'm like, oh, this game looks fun. How much is this? Ah, damn! Like every other system, it
Vita, sadly.
always doesn't matter. And it's always like, there's tons of cheap games on every system, but those are the ones I don't want. You know what I mean? Like you go through a list when you're emulating and you pick out the ones you want, and then you're like, well, how much are these physicals? And those are always the ones that are insane. But that makes sense. Everybody wants the same games because those are the ones that are good. So I'm not the only one who knows that the game's good. It is what it is. And then the last thing I picked up, nothing fancy or anything, but just been on my radar for a while, and I wanted it for a while. I picked up Dodgeball Academia. This is an RPG dodgeball game.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of cartoonish. Nothing too crazy about it. It is 2 players, but it's like, I don't know. Did you guys ever play the dodgeball games on NES? Like I think it was just called Super Dodgeball.
Yes, I did remember. Yeah, I played a bit of dodgeball on NES. Yeah,
I love those games when I was a kid. I used to play them all the time with my brother. And when this came out, for some reason, I was just like, you know what? I would like to play a dodgeball game. That looks fun. So again, it was on sale. I got it for like $10, $15 or something like that. So I picked it up as well.
I can't ever think I've ever seen gameplay of a dodgeball game. I have to look that up. I played dodgeball, but not a video game version of it before.
Oh, so the dodgeball game on NES is legit. That game is really fun. I mean, well, I suppose now it's probably not going to, blow your socks off or anything. But back in the day, it was a great game and it was a lot of fun. So I don't know. It's kind of nostalgic for it. That's everything. That's all I got for pickup so far this week.
I got 1 or 2 things for show and tell, and then Forrest will get a year because I know you got a few exciting things there. So I thought I'd pull out some JRPG games on PS1 with Forrest being our guest today. So here we have a Square Soft title. This is Vagrant Story. This is again before the merge with Square Soft and Enix.
very nice.
That's a good
Very
game.
nice.
I love these PAL versions too because they weren't reprinted. Your North American Final Fantasy games and stuff, they're a lot cheaper than the PAL versions, I find, just because they were reprinted and things like that. I love these big cases as well. The second one, we've got a Capcom title, Breath of Fire 4. I do want to get the other Breath of Fire games, but they are really expensive. So.
Yeah, I have Breath of Fire 3, and that was not easy to get either.
Great games. Beautiful artwork. That game especially. That's gorgeous.
But at some point, I might give them a go. You know what it's like. You can only play so many JRPGs.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I remember my little brother played the SNES ones, but I never played the first 2, but I did play a lot of 3. and a good chunk of 4 as well.
What have you got?
PS
to show?
PS1 RPGs are the best.
They're beautiful to collect for. I love them.
Mhm.
I
Okay,
feel like
so
they're getting like a lot of love right now. They're getting like the Suikoden remakes, and they re-release Legend
yes,
of Mana.
I'm
and
looking
they-
forward to that. Definitely.
I need a remake of Brave Fencer Musashi, please. That's what I want. I want a nice.
Oh, that was such a good game on PS2 and PS1.
I
some
love
of my
like a
favorites.
Chrono Trigger on PS4 or something, you know.
Eh,
Dude, if they remake Chrono Trigger, leave the gameplay element, maybe do a 2.5 or even, I don't know, a remake, that would be amazing. As long as they don't ruin it. But
Like a Chrono collection of Chrono Trigger and
Yeah.
Chrono Cross.
that'd be pretty cool.
no, they're gonna make it, and they're gonna make it an action RPG.
That would still be
Please,
pretty
yeah.
cool.
You know what? It could be good. I could see it if they pull
I'm
it off.
fine with it if they make a sequel, but if they call it Chrono
Yeah.
Trigger, I would not be okay with it. Final Fantasy. Anyway,
So, let's see. So, I guess it's my turn now. Show and tell.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
All right. So, we're going to start with consoles first, and then we'll go to the games. So, Joe, I think you're going to love this.
What you got,
I do.
man?
All right.
I already do.
So, I'm going to show you the box first.
All right.
There was a
Is it
game.
Hatsune Miku? Oh,
No,
sorry.
I wish it was.
Oh, okay. I get
But it
very
is something
excited
cool
about that.
still. There was
Okay.
a visual novel in
All right.
Japan that had this really cool special edition PSP with the game called All Stars Prelude Symphony Pack.
Okay.
Ooh. Oh, that's pretty.
I had to pay a very, very high premium because I really wanted it. You're going to see the price tag in a second. But here is the cask. Here is the top
Yeah, I've
of
never
the
even seen
box.
this.
That's a PSP.
I like the black
How much I
buttons.
paid for it. And it was pre-owned. It wasn't even that was
Mhm.
pre-owned.
Mm-hmm.
$5.99.
Gorgeous, man.
So
Beautiful.
here is the PSP itself.
Yeah, Japan got. Yeah, that looks freaking awesome with the black buttons because there's a few
Oh,
white
so
models like that, but not with that. Not with the black buttons.
And this one
Also-
is this one's immaculate, man.
Well, I was just gonna say too, and you know, all PSPs especially, the backs of them are always trashed.
Yeah,
Paint's
this is
always
not. This is
yeah.
absolutely not.
Yeah, so like I have a God of War. I have the God of War black and red model. That's like my favorite one. And I've been trying to find like a clean battery cover for it forever, dude. And it's just like impossible to find one. Because
You know what
It's
I actually
that's like that specific red that like you cannot buy a replacement for it. That
some of the God of
matches.
War red one
You
that they
can't-
had.
Yeah.
So speaking of handhelds, let's move on.
Mhm. That's gorgeous, so man.
Yeah, it is pretty rare. So I think if you go to console rarity, there's a console rarity site. It's like very
Yeah,
high up on the rarity.
I've never seen that before, dude. I've never even
So
seen it.
I was very happy to get it because
And I've spent hours trolling Japanese PSP. Like, dude, I love that stuff. There's so many beautiful ones. I want the Hatsune Miku one so bad, dude. Believe it or not, I still want the Hannah Montana one really bad. Dude.
I was gonna
It's
say Hannah Montana
gorgeous,
was
dude.
awesome.
Yeah, I think it was Adam Phibbs. He has one. He's
I actually owned one at one point, but it was incomplete and all scratched and stuff, so I sold it.
see. I have a few of them, so I'm not. It depends on how scratch you're talking.
I'm gonna run through these other two because I've already showed it earlier in the video. So this is obviously Xenosaga 3. So we've
Awesome.
seen that one already.
You gotta say the subtitle. What's the subtitle? Alpha
I can't- Yeah, it's also Zarathustra.
Figsy named that game.
It's in German. It's actually German. I don't know how to pronounce it in German, but
Just sound angry when you're saying it.
all right. So the next one is a PS Vita that I bought it brand new 3 years ago and I never opened it. So this Vita is actually new. It's not even
Nice.
open. I've never opened
Japanese or is it a US?
it. It's a Japanese Vita, yeah.
Just on that,
This is brand
Forrest, I want to have a question about sealed Vitas because I know sealed PSPs right now, the batteries are busting open. What's going to happen with Vitas in 10 years?
So
Yeah.
here's what I've been trying to get people to understand: that even though this thing is new, At some point, I'm going to have to open it and charge the battery because if you do not charge the battery, they will die. So what I'm thinking is doing is maybe once a year charging it so that the battery doesn't die, but at the same time finding a way to take it out without putting prints on the console. That's the hardest part. So
Yep.
yes, you have to charge the batteries in these. You have to. That's something that people have to realize. If you're going to collect consoles with batteries, you have to periodically charge the battery. It will die and it will rupture. So yeah,
There's horror stories out there of people with sealed PSPs and the battery leaking. And imagine
speaking of which, leads me to my next.
Beautiful.
I had to open this because it was this very same thing he was talking about. So check out the condition of this PSP first off, because it's new.
Oh my god!
Hold on, let me get them in the light.
Yeah, don't.
You see the battery? The original PSP battery is not even bloated. See it?
Yeah,
that's impressive.
And
the power cord still. Yeah, it's flawless.
So the
is that a 3000 or a 2000?
It's a 3000. It's the last model.
That's nice, man.
And you'll never see them in that condition.
Nope.
Yeah. So I actually found a Chinese brand new PSP I'm gonna buy. If I get it next week, I will show it to you, Figsy.
Yeah.
On Twitter, because you're gonna love it. I found that not long ago. Now, this next console has a story behind it. So this is a PS. Look at the condition of this box.
Clean. I feel like we're going back to 2002.
This box is exceptionally clean. I am shocked. So the story behind this PS2 was a husband and his wife went and bought this. This is the model 3000 model 3001. So it was the very first revision. They bought it, and the intention was to play it. There's the back of it. Look at that. It's just immaculate. And the top of it, see? The problem was, actually, hold on. To show you just how neat this thing is, if you open it, I'm going to open it real quick. Stick of the controller and all that, see?
Yeah, it's basically untouched.
Basically unplayed, yeah. Her husband got sick the night he bought it. They opened it, and her husband got ill. His health never recovered, and he eventually passed away like last year. So during that time when he bought it, he got ill, and they never played it. So it's practically new. The system, the console was out of the box, but the lady told me that it sat in one spot for almost a decade. They never touched it. The controller was never taken out of the wrapper. They plugged it up, but he never played it. The system doesn't even scratch on it anywhere. It's basically new. So I am very, very happy to have it, but during the circumstances of her husband. But I don't think I've ever seen a clean PS2 box like that in a long time. So to have that was very, very cool.
That was a nice piece, man.
Yeah. So get into some games now. This is actually a game that I really.
Oh, you son of a! Dude, you son of a! That's I have 1 and 2, and I don't have that one.
I paid only $45 for this.
I hate you.
Now it's like almost $200 now. I was like, what?
Bro, I look for that on eBay like 3 or 4 times a week.
This was in immaculate condition.
Oh, it's beautiful.
Yeah. So I got lucky.
Keep your eyes peeled. You let me know if you see another one for.
Dude, I see these all the time. Dude, I see this all the time. I've seen like several of these copies of this.
To find me one for less than $100.
Movie trading company. If you have a movie trading company, call them to have one shipped from the store down here off of Northwest Highway in Dallas. They have one. If you want to get one. So next is Orishika.
I need trails. I need Trails in the Sky too. Do you have Trails in the Sky?
They have Trails in the Sky there too, I believe. I don't remember the price of it.
Yeah, it's probably.
So this is Orishika Bloodlines on PS Vita, which is extremely expensive. This is a really good turn-based JRPG. Full customization of characters, has beautiful graphics. It's trying to autofocus on my face, so it's kind of.
That's the Region 3 English version, right?
Yes, it's the English, the Asia English Region 3. Yes, sir. Yep. But I paid $150 for this. It was worth it. but I had to pay a premium, unfortunately.
But
Vita.
it's a Vita game. It's probably
Vita
worth
isn't
a lot
the-
more than that today, right?
Yeah. Next is one I got when I was traveling for work up in the state of Wisconsin. I don't remember the game. Do I have the video game sticker on here? Do I? What company? No, I don't. They don't have the name on the sticker. I wanted to get my hands on Tears to Tiara 2. This is brand new. I never opened it.
I
Unfortunately,
rarely
I
see that
paid
version. Huh?
$90 for this.
Is that
But I
with the
really, really wanted this. So, and it
It's so
comes
cool.
with
You
the
can see the title through the top of the case. That looks awesome.
No, it's an
Yeah.
art book on the back of it. That's what.
Yeah,
it
yeah.
is.
That's the art
Yeah,
book.
that's
in
what
there.
I'm.
Yeah.
That's what I mean. Like the way it.
The way
you
they
can
packaged
see
it in there. Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Yeah. That's really cool.
But I really, 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 really wanted this because it's an extremely hard game to get nowadays.
Bryce, I've actually never seen that version apart from I own that sealed version of the art book, and I've never seen another one. It's the first one I've seen, so that's cool.
Oh, really? Yeah, it's not. It's very, very uncommon. The next game was one that I really want to talk about for those who are still collecting PSP. This is the European version of Tales of Eternia. Now, Figsy may know about this story. This is very important for those who may have been interested in buying Tales of Destiny 2, but don't want to pay the PS1 prices. So if you're going to get this, there are two versions of this game. It's called the Volt Glitch copy and the non-Volt Glitch copy. It's crucial to know you have to find not the recent, it's called 1.0 update. That's the Volt version. You want to go for the one that's 1.2 or 1.3. So Ubisoft printed this in Europe. You have to find a version on the UMD disk. You won't know unless you actually go to the update on the UMD itself. If it says 1.2 or higher, you got the version that is not broken, meaning you can play the whole game and it will not glitch. Unfortunately, the original print, version 1, you cannot beat the game. It's not possible. When you fight the boss, that's the Volt boss, he does an attack in the game and the game crashes every single time because he does the attack every single time. You cannot beat the game with that version. So this version is worth $100. The non-Volt glitch version is worth $100, whereas the Volt glitch version is $50 to $30. So if you ever see it online, make sure it says non-Volt glitch copy.
There's no way to tell it apart.
There's no way to tell it apart unless the person you're buying from actually understands what they have and can actually tell you. So if you're saying, oh, you got this game on eBay, I want to buy it. If they cannot tell you which version they have, stay away from it because it could be one you cannot beat the game.
I can't even get
Very
to tell me if it's PAL, what country it's from, if it's sealed, if it's the game in the
Can we beat the
picture,
final boss in the game?
is it the actual pictured game, or is it just some shit they pulled off of a freaking? Oh man, my people on eBay, dude.
Yeah, it's just something that you have to understand that if you're gonna buy Eternia, you have to know that. It's important.
Did that game get like a PS2 release in PAL as well? Didn't they do like a PS2 version of that as well?
I don't
In
know
PAL?
if they did. I wasn't aware of it. I know they did a Japanese Destiny 2 remake
Okay.
of the actual Destiny 2. But to my knowledge, I'm not familiar with Eternia getting a actual.
I have
So I know I see the comment. What if you get the ROM? No, the ROM I believe would not contain the glitch. There's probably a version of it that does not have the glitch. This is only if you're getting the PSP. Now I will tell you this: if you buy the PSP, this is one I recommend over the PS1. This has widescreen support. This game is widescreen, so if you actually get more view of the environment and in the battles. So that's why I recommend this over the PS1 version. It's cheaper. You can plug it up to your PSP to the TV or computer and play it. You get the widescreen option. It looks amazing. Still contains all the voice acting, the English voice acting, as well as a Japanese intro. The European version got the Japanese intro. This is another cool feature about this game. So just thought I'd point that out. A little PSA for anybody that's interested to get that.
I'd love to see like Tales of Destiny 1 and 2 on modern systems.
PSP is region free, guys. By the way.
Yes, region free. Yep.
So I actually have been getting a few European games and buying some Japanese games lately. It's pretty fun. They got
Yeah,
some nice shmups.
I'm yeah, you guys are welcome. Like I said, I know Salazar. I know that guy. How you doing, man? But yeah, so but yes, I'm glad to let everybody know about this. A lot of people don't know about that vote glitch copy. It does exist, and it's something to be very, very important. The person who's selling it, if they give you the information, those are the people you can trust, because if they can actually tell you that version they have, then it's trusted. If that person went out of their way to tell you that which version it is,
How far
that's
into
you can
the?
feel confident.
Okay, so you can say you can just buy the update version when you boot up the game. You don't actually have to play through the game to find out,
No, you
though.
just put the UMD in and go down to where
Mhm.
where you know how every UMD has a update for your console.
Mhm.
Yep.
If it has version 1 and it doesn't have a number after 1 point whatever, it's just 1.00,
Mhm.
because it's an earlier game release, so it's one of the earlier updates. If it does not contain the newer update with a point number on the end, it is not the copy that's not glitched.
That's cool,
Has to
man.
be 1.2 or higher for it to be. And what's funny about it, the story behind it was Ubisoft took back copies of people who had the glitches. They sent them in and got them exchanged.
Oh, okay.
They didn't do a reprint of them. That's the problem. The problem is it never got reprinted. You had to send it in for Ubisoft to send you back one. So they're extremely
Oh.
rare.
I was gonna say
Oh,
it's
okay.
weird that they never like did something different on the cover, but
Mhm.
if it wasn't a reprint, then that kind of
Then
makes sense.
the covers are the same. The covers will not tell you the difference. No, but Ubisoft did go out of the way to replace the copies of them.
That
So
reminds me of like the Doom for limited run games that was all messed up. It's like the
yeah,
same thing. Like you have to the good ones are the ones people sent back in and had to do the trade in for it, right? They never like reprinted it and fixed it.
yeah, and that
So with
that's
that in
just,
mind, there's probably more non-working versions than working versions
there's
out
going
there.
to be more non-working versions, unfortunately. So it makes it extremely rare. But there are people on eBay, and I've seen it, where they actually list non-vote glitch. So if you see that, that's the one you want to buy. If it says vote, if the person goes out of their way to tell you it's a vote glitch and you're okay with it, because you can actually, if you're okay with it and somebody gives you a safe out past the boss, and you just want to play the game, you don't care about your character stats being affected, or you can give them your save file. That's what's cool about PSP. You can give that person your save file to beat that boss for you, and they can send a save file back, and you can progress it that way. So there is ways around it, but if you really want to play the game at your own accord without anyone's help, you need to get the right proper version.
Forrest will beat the boss for you guys. Just send him a message.
Yeah, because I have a working copy. So, but yeah, so I figured that'd be pretty cool. That's why I wanted to show that for sure, because I knew probably people didn't know that.
I didn't know that. That was really cool. Thanks for sharing that.
Yeah. So the next game here is another PSP game. It's one of my absolute favorites. It's the fourth entry in the series, and that is Growlancer 4. Wait for a time.
Ooh.
Nice, dude.
I
That whole
absolutely
series is
love
awesome.
the Growlancer games. There's an interesting thing about the person created the art for these games. I'm not going to talk about the person, but let's just say it's interesting. But anyway,
That doesn't
yeah.
sound good, dude.
Yeah. So the actual game is like it's kind of isometric, top down, sprite based, kind of like tactical sort of. There's strategic routes you have to take in like the maps. Like you go into a tunnel, it can be dark. You may need to go find a flashlight or some kind of firelight to get through the tunnel. You can't just go straight in. There's like areas where you have to escape monsters and go through mountains, and maybe you have to take split paths for your characters to go to escape routes. Like it's a very cool tactical game. I absolutely love Growlancer 4. This was one of the very last PSP releases, or one of the very end, the very tail end of the system's life. And Atlas released it, which anything Atlas does is pretty much a done deal being rare. But I love
Rare
the music,
end at the end of the life cycle.
especially at the end. I love this game. I absolutely love the art style of the characters. Very 90s, early 2000s kind of design. But yeah, if you really want a good tactical kind of it's like a semi-tactical, semi-turn based. It's a mixture of both. It's a weird like
I love those types of games.
Oh, dude.
PSP has a plethora of strategy RPGs if you're into them. There's so many good ones on the system.
Man. It's for sure probably my favorite. It's like, was it Growlancer Generations, then Growlancer 4, then Growlancer Heritage of War. Heritage of War is a 2D attempt at trying to be something modern. It's okay, but it's not considered the best in the series. So, should I do PS1 or should I do PS4 first? Which one y'all want me to do?
Get
PS1?
PS1 and then we'll get
All
a
right,
PS4.
Suikoden 2.
It's a good one.
Look at the condition of this one.
Yeah, it looks clean.
Yeah. And the disc.
Can't wait for the remake, dude.
Yeah, I'm still waiting for the PS4 version.
Yeah, dude, I can't wait. Nice disc, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's perfect.
It's perfect. It's brand new.
Yeah.
So I have a copy, but it ain't that clean.
Yeah, this one, man, is clean. Extremely.
That's very nice.
Yeah. I gotta give shout out to Xenogears. I
Hell yeah,
freaking
dude.
love Xenogears to death. Before Xenosaga came out, I was on a kick with like PS1 games, like playing Final Fantasy. I was starting to get into Final Fantasy games. I wasn't really into JRPGs because I was mostly playing a lot of racing games and a lot of platformers. That's all I played back then. And as I was going and trying out new games, when my father would let me get newer games that was more mature, because he was still sort of lenient on what I could play, he eventually let me get this. And he was like, T-rated game, this should be fine. Man, I felt like this game was more mature than T-rated because of all the gore, the biblical terminology. There was actually some nudity in this game, which for a T-rated game was just no. If it's got re-released, it
They
would
missed that when they were reviewing it for the
yeah, they missed it. There is nudity in this game, but the story is fantastic. The combat, oh my god, the combat is so good, so freaking good. And I know in this never came out overseas, other than digital, if I'm not mistaken, from PS3. But I love the art on the disc, man. That's the way they did them over here. The black labels were this white with this kind of etching of the name behind it or character art. Like for instance, with I love the art. So 90s, man. And this is one of the best games on Square Enix never reprinted Xenogears. Of all the games they did a reprint on their website you could buy, this was one of them that never got reprinted. They reprinted Vagrant Story, they reprinted Final Fantasy 9, they reprinted 8, they never reprinted 7. Seven never got reprinted because that was owned by Sony.
Right?
They reprinted the greatest hits version, that's why.
Well, yeah, Squaresoft did, but when Square Enix bought Square at the time, when they did the reprint for Square Enix's actual label on their cases, it never got reprinted on at that point.
Oh, I see what you're saying. After the
there was a Squaresoft greatest hits. There's a Square Enix greatest hits.
Okay, yeah.
So all the Square Enix prints are silver bottom. You know about the black and silver disc prints, Figsy?
Yeah, the PAL is completely different, so I've never actually seen
all the greatest hits that Square Enix printed are silver discs, they're not black.
So they're like the DVD style.
They look like CD-ROM discs. They're basically silver. Those are the ones that are printed so many times that they're not worth anything.
Yeah.
So you're into a whole other conundrum of collecting. So you got your silver bottom Square Enix prints. Then you got the greatest hit black label prints by Squaresoft. And then you got the black label prints of Squaresoft. So there's actually 3 versions that if you're collecting every version of Square Enix and Squaresoft, there's silver bottom, and then there's the greatest hit black bottom, and then there's I say black, but they're really purple. But then there's the black label greatest hit first edition, greatest hit second edition. So that's kind of how I look at it. But yeah, Xenogears is the bomb. I love Xenogears. So next show and tell, actually this one, I've been intrigued by Ogre Battle. I found this finally. For years I've been looking for it because it was a Super Nintendo game that got printed for PS1. So it plays just like a Super Nintendo game. They didn't really alter anything to it. So when you boot it up, it's exactly the same as if it was cartridge form, just on a disc. Other than the fact that it plays on PlayStation. Same art.
So many cool games we didn't get over here.
This is really cool by Alice. I'm glad they printed this. They even have the little RPG simulator sticker label at the very bottom like they do over here. That's pretty cool. So this is command 75 different type of characters, 13 possible endings, non-linear gameplay, This limited edition takes Ogre Battle to the whole new level of 32-bit gaming. This is extremely expensive. I got to pay like $142 for this.
Yeah, it's expensive.
Yeah, so
I have a guy at work that he's into Switch collecting really heavily, and I talk about Switch collecting, but I told him I'm really into PlayStation. He's like, "Oh, I have one valuable PlayStation game in it. That's the one he has, that Ogre Battle game." So I've been working him on that for a long time. I'm just like, dude, I know you're into Switch. You don't even like PlayStation. You don't even like it, man. Just come on. I got some stuff you could trade. Come on, I'll get it eventually. It'll be mine. Really annoying.
AJ's correct. Xenogears did get a print from Squaresoft. It did get a greatest hits. It didn't get a second edition from Square Enix. So yeah, he corrected that. That's something I missed. So yes, it did get a greatest hits Squaresoft print, not Square Enix. So a little bit of other trivia about Squaresoft. I don't know if you guys knew this or not. I want to make a video about this, but I'm gonna just kind of do a little small recap. So all the Squaresoft games released in America is also collaborated by Square Electronic Arts. So EA had a merger deal with Squaresoft to print their games in Japan under the Square Enix or Squaresoft name, and Squaresoft did not have a publishing distribution center here. So EA, Electronic Arts, paid some of the dividends to help release their games here. So they had like a 30-70 merger, like how much money they would make off the games. So Squaresoft was banking because all their games were making good money here. They were selling really well. Every game that got released in Japan by Squaresoft bombed. Like Madden, Need for Speed, none of those games sold well at all. EA was upset because EA was paying for the translations for all the Vagrant Story, Xenogears, all the final. The only reason why we got those games, EA paid for the translations for Squaresoft because Squaresoft couldn't afford it. They were actually going bankrupt. That's why the merger happened. They needed a way out, and so so EA was essentially helping them stay afloat. And the only reason why we got Kingdom Hearts is because when the merger happened, they was able to fund that development and that right for that release of Kingdom Hearts. But they had to buy the rights back from EA. So EA still held some right to Kingdom Hearts 1. So once they paid for their part of the company back from EA, it became Square Enix. That's why the later releases of Kingdom Hearts 1 have Square Enix instead of Squaresoft. But I want to make a video about that because a lot of people don't know if it wasn't for EA in US, we wouldn't have got any of those games. And Squaresoft wanted to release a lot of those games in Europe, which with EA's help. The EA refused. They didn't want to pay the money to have more translations done. That's why a lot of them didn't come to Europe because they were hoping the EA would help fund the bill to get them released. And EA didn't want to do it because EA was getting really upset with Squaresoft because their games were not selling in Japan. They weren't making any profit. It was like, you're not helping us sell our games. You're not marketing our games, but we're marketing your games to help you guys out here. And they weren't helping on the other end. It was like, yeah,
that's
so it sucked.
Kingdom Hearts would have been expensive too, with all the Disney licenses and everything.
And the only reason why, because like I said, it was because of EA. So basically, Squaresoft was in a position where EA was able to help them capitalize, but unfortunately, it wasn't the other way around.
In case some of you young people don't know, EA used to not be Satan. And
no, they didn't
actually be a pretty decent company, and they didn't have microtransactions, and they didn't like ruin the industry. Like they just
made good games.
They made good games. Like EA were great. And like
their sport games used to feel different.
So good, dude. They were good. Yeah. Like you used to be excited about EA for a long time.
So for everybody out there, you got to thank EA, the EA of the past. You have to give them thanks for every Squaresoft that says Electronic Arts LLC. If you ever see that name on the intro of a game, you have to give EA credit. If it was not for
Genesis, damn fine games.
Yeah, these
damn fine games.
Play some real good games on Genesis. So you got to give EA credit, man. They technically at one point in time held the rights to those games. They held the rights to all of those games. The reason why Final Fantasy,
I'm thankful. I'll tell you that.
You got to be thankful to EA. You have to. A lot of people don't give them credit for that. That's one of the reasons I have
today they're like one of the most greatest companies in video games.
Yeah, but you got to give. And that's one of the reasons I hold EA in the past in respect for what we got, and I don't ever forget that part of the company of EA of the past. Not
And they
today, but back then, yeah.
they
So
still do some cool stuff. I mean, they're
yeah,
not,
they do. They
you
do.
know,
I'm not gonna knock them, but
they've like
yeah.
fund like an indie game every year or a project every once in a while too. Like I'm pretty sure that Unravel game that came out was just
Mhm.
like a random
That was actually
indie
good.
game.
Yeah, yeah,
It's a great
yeah.
game, and EA decided to just help them put that out. And so like they're they do their stuff. And
To-
I'm one of
yeah.
those people who's like a realistic approach to like business. Like you can't be mad at people who want to make money. You know what I mean?
No.
Like you can't be mad at people. That's like how the world works. If nobody wanted to make any money, we wouldn't have any damn games. Okay, people wouldn't be
truth be
making
told,
them.
this is one. And truth be told, this is one of the reasons I'm actually glad that I'm able to talk about that, because a lot of people don't know that there was that EA help that Squaresoft so desperately needed that made that possible for that generation. It really was remarkable. So, last PS1 game, Hoshigami,
Ooh, another Atlas one.
tactical
That's a
RPG.
cool one.
This is considered by many to be one of the hardest JRPGs on the PS1. This game. I never got far enough to see how hard it is, but apparently it's very brutally hard. So here's the. For
Friggin'
some reason,
game's
I
pretty
got to
hard,
do
too.
this front cover with no disc on the front because the manual's too big. And then the
You have
that
nice
one.
condition on your games, by the way. That's a very clean copy again. Looks
all
really
of my
nice.
games are like that, man. I
It's hard to
usually
find
try
the double case games like that in good shape. Like you can
Yeah.
replace the single disc games pretty easily, but those are hard to find in that nice
So
shape,
there's
especially
a
rare games
case.
like that.
Yeah, the cases are still clean.
Yeah,
Yeah, so yeah, man.
that's a cool one. I never see that one in the wild anywhere. I've seen it online and stuff, but like, never. I don't see that in the shops.
I picked that game up
never
in
see that
I picked that game up in I picked it up in Milpitas, California at a video game store when I was traveling for work out there. When I was in San Francisco, I drove out of Milpitas. There was a game store down there, and that's where I got that from. That guy will let you will and deal. He will let you say, "Hey, I can," you could negotiate prices. That game, I'm gonna have to shout out the game store. But if you're ever in Milpitas, California, there's a store there, and I can't remember the name because I travel so much for work. I forget a lot of these game store names, but that store, man, the guy will will and deal. Like if you come in there and you say, "Hey, what can I get for this price?" He is one of the few game stores I've ever been to in the U.S. where you could he had set prices, but based on the condition, disc, whatever, whatnot, he will work with you. So I got to give that guy a shout out at the store. So, but yeah, so that's it for PS1. I mean, I have other ones over there on that side over there, but that's another day. Anyways, I have a PS2 game right here. This was a recent about 2 weeks ago. I did find the Ark on the Piston in really good condition, and I was very happy to get this because I've been looking.
You said the name very well, by the way. That's a tough one to say. The name of the game.
The Ark on the Piston, yeah, it's the
I'm
manual.
always like Nephistum,
It's the confidence that you said it that many times before that it's just part of your vocabulary at this point. I love it.
No, there's a guy who actually was a big fan of East. He lives in Australia. His name, because he doesn't go by that name anymore. He goes by he's called the Wanderer's Voice. He has a YouTube channel. I think it's called the Wanderer's Voice. He's a big avid fan of East. And I learned from him how to pronounce all of the East names. And so this game right here, I've been trying to find for over 10 years. Every time I found a copy of it, it was missing the manual, or the manual was damaged, or the manual was perfect, the disc was damaged, or the art was water damaged and the disc and manual. I'm like, I never found it complete in one till 2 weeks ago. And the price has gone up to $55. It used to be real cheap. Now it's not anymore. Or it's going up now. So I'm glad to have this. And the art's perfect. The case is not messed up. The manual and the disc are perfect. So I'm very happy to have this. Absolutely.
That's got a PSP release too.
It does. I hear that it doesn't run as good. I have seen it before, but I wanted to go with the PS. No, actually, Joe, I'm gonna have to look into that because maybe one of the others better. I don't know which one. Maybe the PSP is better.
I got them both.
Yeah, I don't know which one's better. I don't know. Joe, you might have to tell me on that one because I don't know.
Well, I'm assuming the PS2 copy is better. I mean, it just would make more sense, honestly.
I know one doesn't have something the other one has. I think.
See,
Oh, I
one
don't
has
know.
voice
As far as
acting, one
content
doesn't.
goes, I don't know. I don't know, to be honest
Yeah.
with you. But for me, it was just a matter of like so I want the PS2 copy just because I collect PS2 RPGs and I love Ys, and that's like the only one, I think, right? I think that's the only one that we got a Western release. I don't believe we got anything
We
else.
never got
on PS2.
This was the only. No, Ark of the Piston was the only we ever got. Yep.
Yeah, and then on the PSP, we got quite a few. We got the Chronicles, we got Oath of Felgana, we got 7, and then we got Ark of the Piston too. So
I have all the box sets for every East game on PSP, with the exception of East 1 and 2. I had it and I returned it because I didn't really want it. And I regret that to the day I die, I guess.
Do you have the regular version?
I don't even own I don't own 1 or 2 at all. I don't have it. It's the one I don't have. I have all the other ones. I don't have that one.
So I have the regular versions of all of them, and then I have the fancy version of 1 and 2. So maybe we can work something out. Maybe, I don't know.
I have every box set of East of the Fagana, of East 7, of I have all of them. It's just not that game. It's the only one I don't have.
The only box sets, the collector's editions I have are for Ease 1 and 2, and then I have Lunar. I have the Lunar one as well.
I have Lunar also, and I have the European limited edition of Tactics Ogre on PSP. That got the.
So you don't need that other.
I had that one at one point.
I have the regular version of Tactics.
That's
Ogre.
the brown colored slipcover, right?
Yep, the brown slipcover.
Yeah.
I even have the Australian version of Third Birthday, the Twisted Edition, with the red case. I have
that's
Final
sick,
Fantasy
dude.
IV.
$200 game at the moment.
Hmm?
It's like a $200 game, right?
It is, and I also have the box set. No, it wasn't a box set; it was a slipcover because my friend Retro Kaiser in Australia, dude, I have so many friends in Australia. It's crazy. He lives in Sydney. Anyway, so he actually sent me the little slipcover Final Fantasy IV After Years that came with the screen protector. It had the special cover. That's expensive, and he only found one copy at was it JB Hi-Fi?
Yeah,
he found one copy that they had. They only had one. And he bought it for me.
I had it. I sold my PSP collection, but I did have that at one point.
Yeah, I had all those box sets. They were Square Enix print box sets overseas. Never came out in America. Got them all.
Yeah, that's so beautiful too.
Yep.
Yeah, dude, I absolutely love collecting for the PSP.
I do too.
It's like I almost don't want to talk about it. I don't want to get people
PSP
excited about it. Dude, I love PSP. So my biggest dream, dude, is like, man, you know how Analog comes out with like the Analog Pocket and all that stuff? I want them to make like an updated UMD player. So freaking bad, dude. Like a home, like a consoleized PS, like a UMD player that like you could hook up your PS3 controllers or PS4 controllers or something. That'd be so dope, dude. And I know you can do it all these other ways with hacking and emulation and PSTV and all that. I know there's ways, but I want something that'll play my discs.
That's probably, unless somebody can create something like that, maybe in the future, because the PSPs are going to die, and inevitably they're going to die. I actually found a YouTuber though who found a way you can oil the actual trays. So apparently, I didn't know.
Otherwise, they screech like banshees.
I didn't know that's actually what caused them to stop working. So I have a PSP that I need to open up to fix with some grease. The last 3 games, real quick, I'm not going to spend long on them. Is this is the chemical that I was talking about here? The Blacksmith of the Sand Kingdom. It's really good. It's a tactical alchemy game.
Yeah, not all the Chemco games are bad. I know we poop on them, but there are some decent ones. Just most of them.
Multi-blood fighting game that I got for PS4 is really expensive.
Dude, that thing's worth a flipping fortune. Yeah, that thing sold out on PlayAsia's website in like 10 seconds, and it's like worth it.
I absolutely
ridiculous amount of money.
Absolutely love the insert art in there, and the disc looks really cool.
It almost looks like the same art style as Clannad.
Yeah, so Tsukihime and all that. Yeah. So this plays in English, even though it's got a Japanese cover. Dude, this sold out immediately. And as soon as it sold out, it went
instantly,
to 100.
dude.
I had to talk to this guy in Japan. He was like, "Oh, it's not the best condition." I'm like, "I just want it." He had the cheapest price. I took a gamble with him. He sent it to me, and I'm like, "You call this not the best condition? This is immaculate."
Japan have got higher standards than anywhere else in the world for conditions. I love that. I respect it so much.
And then this
That's
is
a
where
really nice piece, man. That's
this
going to
is
be worth
probably
an
even
insane
nicer.
amount of money down the road. Go ahead, sir.
This right here. I got to thank a lady on YouTube. If you ever heard of Fufu Dogs,
Yeah,
she
Britta's
is a very
amazing.
popular YouTuber. I'm really good friends with her, and she sent me this game that was a release only in France. It never got released anywhere in Europe but France. Ori,
Ooh.
and this is in French on the back, but this was a French release, a France release about this kid who turns into this dragon and goes around. And it's like it's such a cool, like interesting game. I absolutely love it. Absolutely. But the only way you can get it is in France. So this here is a really cool thing. I'm actually really happy to have this.
That's cool, man.
Exceptional. Yeah. So
Food for
that's it.
Dogs is amazing too, guys. If you haven't seen her YouTube channel, definitely go and check it out. She's doing a series at the moment on Twitter where she shows a PS3 game every day, but from the console, like the library, as you put the disc in, and every PS3 game has its own background when you put the disc in, and it's really cool to see. Like you
It
don't
really
get
is.
your new games anymore.
It
Hey
really
guys,
is.
we have a topic that we're going to talk about tonight that we haven't touched yet, and that is the PlayStation portable remote player that's been announced for $199.99. So let's talk about that quickly.
The name of the
Ooh.
episode. We should probably we should probably talk about that.
Ooh.
So it's been announced. They've done a couple of things. There's going to be no Bluetooth. So basically, what it is you get a controller and it's going to have a screen. It's always going to be connected to your PS5, but your PS5 has to be on. You can be on the other side of the world. Your PS5 can be on and you can be playing it. However, like let's say you've got a physical game and you own it, and it's not in the console. You can't play that on the other side of the world. The system's going to be great for people that buy all their games digitally. If you've got kids and maybe you have to be in the room with them all the time, they're little kids, and they want to watch cartoons and you want to play your PS5, well, you can play your PS5 and they can watch cartoons at the same time. I guess there are going to be some aspects where it will work, but like for us collectors, it's kind of a kick to the guts, really, in what they've announced.
Yeah, it's a little disappointing for sure. The only saving grace that it has is that it's not as overpriced as I thought it would be. Like it's $199.99, and knowing Sony, I was expecting $299.99 from them, to be honest with you. I really was. I'm a little bummed out. So the Bluetooth thing is just irritating, and they do offer it has a headphone jack, so I guess you can use wired headphones if you want to, but any type of wired headset, you're going to have to get their special proprietary ones.
Which I was going to say is going to be an extra 99 or 199. So
it's
really
$129.99 or $199.99. So now you're looking at $200 for the controller and then another $200 for the earbuds. You're looking at $400, so you can do that, and it's like you could literally just get another PS5 that's on sale for like $450 and get a freaking monitor and just have a second little thing and play it. If your kids want to watch TV, there you go. Now you got a second PS5 and
This thing's not going to sell well. It's not going to sell.
No, it'll be tepid sales. It's the same thing that it's overpriced for the features that it's offering. It's the same problem that PSVR 2 had. Like PSVR 2's price point is just too high for most people to enter, and this thing's going to be too high for what it offers, I don't think. So I'm going to get one first. I'm not going to
name that I found.
Sure.
What the heck?
That's all fine.
It's the thing. Oh wow! I didn't realize the same price as the freaking Switch Lite.
But does the Switch Lite play God of War? Is the Switch Lite going to play freaking, Stray? Is the Switch Lite going to play, there's whatever.
So I can see a problem with this. People are going to go out and be like, oh, look at this. They got a PSP handheld. They're going to take it home and be like, oh, it doesn't do anything.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I see parents getting confused and returning this and stuff all the time. People getting it for Christmas who don't have PS5s or who have Xboxes or something.
It doesn't work.
People don't know. Yeah.
Yep.
Also, I'm pretty sure they said that it does not work with the Sony streaming services. It doesn't work
not
with
at all.
What?
Which makes no sense.
It will only work with games that are installed on your hard drive.
So
like any
the
of
only. So we're back in the Wii U generation.
Basically, yeah.
Pretty
It's
much.
a fancy Wii U. You can't take it on an airplane and play a game. Like when you're making a portable system, shouldn't you be able to play it on those times where you're bored and you want entertainment?
Yeah.
Isn't that the idea behind it?
How come?
You can't use it in hotels. It's not going to work on strong Wi-Fi. It's going to need. It's not going to work on weak Wi-Fi. It's going to need strong Wi-Fi to work.
And I just don't see why I can't. You couldn't throw a little memory in the thing, and I can't play my PS1 games. Like I just bought Twisted Metal, and Quake 2, all these releases of these old games and stuff. Well, why can't I download them on this thing and play them offline? Like, come on, dude. Like, it's just absurd. It's just Sony is just, I don't get some of their stuff. It's like the same thing with the Vita. It's like I don't understand them. I don't understand like their design team too. Like also, no offense, the look of this thing is not ideal. It is not very nice looking. It's just not.
I mean, even the PS TV, like that thing fell too because
that thing was freaking amazing compared to this thing. The PS TV is
it was amazing, but the fact that half your games didn't even work on it.
You have to hack it to make it work. Yeah.
Another thing to add is this isn't really anything new. Right now, if you've got a PS5, a mobile phone, and a controller, guess what? You can play your PS5 games on your phone with a controller. Mm-hmm. All they've done is put the phone part in the middle of the screen and hook the controller up to it. That's all this is. It's not like they've made a new product that we've never experienced before. It's not like the Switch for the first time or anything like that.
Yeah, I think there's gotta be. This can't just be strictly PS. There maybe there's something they're gonna do to it to update it to where it'll work. Maybe there's just gotta be some other reason they made this. It can't just be for remote play to PS. It has to be.
Imagine they just were like, hey, we just threw a Vita cartridge slot in there in case you get Vita games.
I mean, that would have been fine.
How cool would that be, dude? You know what? Yeah, dude.
No.
It's like how Atari just announced the 2600 plus. They're like, hey, we're gonna release an HDMI console that plays old Atari carts. Go nuts, guys! Like what you know what I mean? And they're not coming. Why not
UMDs or something?
I was gonna say if they had made it where it had a UMD slot and a Vita slot on it, but it streamed PS5, I'd be okay with it. I'm like,
that would be cool.
Yeah, but no,
they honored the PSP and they honored the Vita. And they were like,
is there one way to have a family where
that would be
you can play your PS4 games on your PS5, you can stream PS3, not perfect, but you can at least play it. You have some PS2 backwards compatibility, some PS1, and then you have this option. Okay, for $200, you got my money, but this is pointless.
So, for me, it does have a point. So I am in their target market because I buy. If you watch a lot of my pickups, I'll buy the PS4 copy and I'll buy the Switch copy. The reason that is because a lot of the time I want to watch TV with my girlfriend and I want to play on my Switch or play handheld. And so for me, there is a reason for me to want to have this thing. But what's a little irritating is we use the PS5 as our entertainment hub. So like I'm using it to watch TV. I don't have a cable box. I don't have cable. Like I'm streaming Netflix or I'm streaming.
But you're not going to be able to use it and then play
at the same time. Exactly. So that pisses me off a little bit.
That kind of defeats the purpose of it.
Well, here's the thing. I'm a freaking psycho and I bought the Spider-Man PS5 bundle. So I'm going to have 2 PS5s.
Yeah, but you shouldn't have to spend that amount to be able to do that.
No, you should. You should be a normal human being. But I'm gonna have like my Netflix PS5, and then I'm gonna have my actual one that I'm playing with, that I can stream my games to.
On that note, guys, I think we'll call that a show. Forrest, you're an amazing guest, man. Please tell everyone all your social medias where everyone can find you.
So, guys, if you want to follow me on Twitter, my Twitter is Forrest_reviews at Forrest_reviews. So that's where I am on Twitter. If you want to follow me on YouTube, it is Forrest Gaming Redux. Forrest Gaming Redux, and I believe it is _ Forrest Gaming Redux. So Forrest_Gaming Redux. That's where I want my game reviews, and my streams will be happening there.
And they will all be in the description, guys. So be sure to go and follow Forrest. He puts out some really good stuff on Twitter, and we've got some big plans for YouTube. So I'm sure it's going to be really awesome in the future.
Heck yeah. And that was a great episode for us. Thank you for coming on, man. It was really informative, very interesting. Awesome.
Yeah, we'll
awesome
have to
show,
get you
dude.
back on the show, man. It was really good having you on.
For sure.
I appreciate it. Thank you guys. Definitely so much. Now, obviously, I got other games. I mean, yeah, I have mostly JRPGs, but I got other stuff that's not JRPGs that we can also talk about too. So,
Heck yeah.
And again, thanks everyone for watching. We'll see you guys Sunday night. See you guys.
Take it easy,
Oh, no,
everybody.
Sunday, it'll be an earlier show Sunday. So it'll be Sunday late night for Americans and really early for Europeans.
Yes,
So
it'll be
you'll probably
Saturday
early.
night for Americans and early Sunday for
I will
non-Americans.
share on the. If you guys aren't following our Facebook group, the PlayStation Collectors Podcast on Facebook, as well as my Discord channel, if you want to see who's coming on the next show and the times that they're going to be on, go and check out the Discord and the Facebook group. They're in the links below. As always, guys, thanks for watching, and we'll see you guys soon.
Hey, everybody.
You found the coolest place to be, the PlayStation Collectors. And come on, won't you sing with me? Welcome to the show. Gather round the boys and girls, collectors from around the world. Let's show the people what they need to know. Welcome to the show. Gonna talk to guests, what we got for best. Gonna put their knowledge to the test. Gonna laugh and eat, gonna live the dream. Gonna show you things you've never seen. Gonna sing the song to the break of dawn. Gonna rock this party all night long. So come on everybody, let me see you dance. Get yourself ready for one more chance.